Dzień dobry. Kontynuujemy dzisiaj bez zbędnego przeciągania. Trzeba ogarnąć chociaż trochę progresu. Skończyliśmy wczoraj na tym, że porozmawialiśmy z bandą alkoholików. Jest to jakiś start. Szukamy nadal Ruby, która kryje się gdzieś tutaj. Siema, Krzysiu.
Our tenant, the policeman. I hope the waves don't keep you up at night. What can I help you with?
Czy ja chcę wyeksmitować staruszkę? Trochę. Nie powiem, że nie kusi. No. Nie powiem, że to nie kusi. Przekonywanie. Dziś mam. To jest -1. Matematyka wzrokowa też nie. Chyba nie mam nic z bonusem do przekonywania. Siema Kacpro. Jak tam? Zdrowy dzisiaj? Poszedłeś do szkoły? Raczej nie, co? Dobra. Wszystko co mam, ma minus do przekonywania. Jak stoimy z przekonywaniem? Gdzie ono jest? Tutaj. No, tak się domyślam właśnie, Kacpro. Jak tam zdrowie? Teoretycznie przekonywanie i tak chciałem rozwijać, ale zastanawia mnie to teraz. Na razie się wstrzymam. W ogóle jak stoi z expem 49 na 100, czyli jakbym potrzebował punktów doświadczenia, to jeszcze mi będzie brakować. Miałem porozmawiać z Joyce o czymś, bo odblokowałem myśl. I chcieliśmy porozmawiać.
Good. What can I help you with? Not an umbrella, I hope. I don't need one myself, you see.
All around you, rain keeps falling down. On the wooden boards she's standing on, and on the water around you.
Przydałby mi się taki płaszcz. Ten deszcz jest lodowaty.
Sadly, I need this one myself. It's hydrophobic, repels water, almost magically. The company makes them for offshore platform personnel, very sturdy. What I can do for you is answer some questions. Nothing like talking to pass a rainy day.
Swoją drogą znalazłem odznakę.
I love you did. Pleased to meet you, Lieutenant W. Freighter Dubois. I am glad to see a man of high qualification. The situation is precarious. What can I help you with, Lieutenant Freighter?
Harry ma charakter jak ja. Nie lubi deszczu. Mam do pani więcej pytań o rzeczywistość.
More lessons in basic reality? My favorite part of the day. Go ahead, ask me anything.
58%. Czekajcie. Załóżmy jakieś wdzianko z bonusem do konceptualizacji. Sprawdźmy, czy nic nie ma minusów najpierw. Wczoraj, Kacpro, duży progres był. Naprawdę. To jest koszula, nie marynarka. Jest nowa koszula z bonusem do konceptualizacji. Nawet spory progres. Chyba któreś okularki miały bonus. Chyba to co mam. Nie, pomyliłem się. Dobra, to jest chyba wszystko co mogę osiągnąć.
You're back. More lessons in basic
83%.
My favorite part of the day.
Czym
Go
jest?
ahead, ask me anything.
What is all of this? The scent,
Udało
the
się.
sound, the air.
Co to za świat?
What world? The only one, I suppose. The world of matter. And its pale antipode.
The camera of her mind glides over the surface of the water.
Co pani widzi?
Great bodies of water. Forest-covered surfaces. Clusters of light where the cities lie. You've seen the montage. We all have. This world is enough. There is a term of endearment they coined for it in the DeLorean century, when humanity was high on this world, discovering more and more of it, these archipelagos included.
Jak ona brzmi?
Elysium.
W końcu mamy tytuł gry. Skin za 270 zł trafił. Nieźle, Kacpro. Sprzedał od razu. Elysium. Świat potrzebuje pieszczotliwego określenia.
It does. There are those who would call it hell.
Czym jest piekło?
A term of hatred that originates, like many such things, with the Mesk petro-fascists.
Nie wydaje mi się, żebym miał już pełen obraz sytuacji.
Oh, you want a picture of the world? There is no complete set yet, dear. They're having some trouble reaching orbit.
Jak to?
Great things are difficult to achieve. For now, we're viewing the world from the inside, sideways.
Od wewnątrz, z ukosa? To jaki świat ma kształt?
We used to think it was a sphere, but that is beginning to look less and less likely by the day. You wouldn't know it from the tabloids, but the ORG nations have been launching weather balloons into the lower ionosphere since the 30s.
ORG, Occident Revachol Grad.
There's a steadily increasing trickle of images. Between the big three scientific contributors, they're piecing together a dark grey corona.
Ciemnoszara korona? Czyli Ziemia jest płaska?
Yes. Pale covers 72% of the surface. There are grey flares and prominences, even arcs above entire isolas. The images are blurry, but if there was a sphere in there, it certainly looks like it fractured a long time ago.
A cold fear seeps into you.
Szarota? Jaka znowu korona?
They say there is a rarefied envelope of matter surrounding the darkened disk of our planet. That is, if we are still living on a planet. Or, to speak more plainly, imagine vast swathes of land disrupted by nothingness. I am sorry, dear. It must sound quite terrifying through the acute encephalopathy. Even scientific positivism isn't entirely convinced about what we're dealing with here. But this is one of the greatest questions of our time. Maybe when they get the complete set together, it will jolt us out of our rut, bring us together, however naive it may sound.
Spękana korona nie brzmi jak coś, co mogłoby kogokolwiek połączyć.
You have misimagined it. I don't have the power to convey to you the effect and geometry of the images that depict our world from below low orbit. It's like the crowning of the world. It's insane. Very disco. You'd love it.
No, skoro mówi pani, że to disco.
See? Everyone finds something worth holding on to in this world, however wasted its opportunities.
The cold seeps into you. The air is heavy with 80% humidity. Suddenly, you're conscious of yourself standing there, on whatever this all is. Your arms hang down by your sides. The lieutenant observes you both, silently. He adjusts his glasses.
Wspomniała pani o szarocie. Co to jest?
The pale is not, technically speaking, part of reality.
Yes. Also, I think we've had enough excitement for today. We do have a case to attend to.
Of course, Lieutenant. Let's try something else.
Nie chcę. Chcę wiedzieć, czym jest szarota.
I don't think your colleague would appreciate that. He has already been so patient with this whole exercise. Let's continue with something else, all right? You can ask about anything else in the world. Anything.
But she wants to tell you. You could sneak back later, when he's not around, unless you can convince him to step aside.
Siła woli. 97%. Poproś Kima, żeby się oddalił na czas twojej rozmowy o szarocie.
Good idea. Just ask him. He won't make a scene.
Kim, mógłbym na chwilę porozmawiać z panią na osobności?
Fine.
See? What can he do? You're a grown man.
No dobrze, to czym jest szarota?
Are you sure you're sure? Your colleague seemed adamant.
Tak, czym jest szarota?
Okay. The Pale is the most dominant geological feature of the world, Detective. The separative tissue between the islas. It is the inter-islary mass.
Chwila, co to jest Isola?
Isla is a Messinian word for a continent of matter, enveloped on all sides by the Pale. Also, isolation, or landmass. We used to believe there was only one. In the last 4 centuries, we have discovered 7. Windy, Seol, Samara, Ilmara, Grad, Katla, and this, Insulinde.
A Insulinde to?
An oceanic isla. It comprises mostly of water. Muindi is the largest, Katla the coldest, Insulinde the bluest. What can I say? Each is perishing and dear.
No dobrze, a jaka jest szarota?
Achromatic, odorless, featureless. The Pale is the enemy of matter and life. It is not like any other, or anything in the world. It is the transition state of being into nothingness.
Czy ona jest tutaj?
No, Detective. We're safe. It begins there, 6,000 kilometers to the north, and even more to the south, east, and west. You are in the middle of the Isla.
As your gaze instinctively turns north, a small black pit opens up in your stomach.
6000 kilometrów od końca świata?
Yes. That is enough. Many cities are built much closer.
A tam, wskaż na północ,
An uproar of matter, darling. Rising into the Pale. Rolling. Evaporating even. A great vision. The area of transition between the world and the Pale is called Porch Collapse. Imagine a grey coronal mist, cold vapor marked by spores of an opportunistic microorganism, a mold that's adapted to grow at the edge of the unrest. It's the most disco thing you will ever see.
You hear your pulse rise. The air feels caustic and cold suddenly.
jakie są jej fizykalne właściwości?
It's difficult to describe, or even measure. Something whose fundamental property is the suspension of properties. Physical, epistemological, linguistic. The further into Pale you travel, the steeper the degree of suspension, right down to the mathematical. Numbers stop working. No one has yet passed the number barrier. It may be impossible.
Skoro otacza nas szarota, to jak można przedostać się z jednej soli na drugą?
Oh, it is so difficult for us.
A squall of birds. Hardware operating in the harbor. Firm. Self-evident.
It is possible to force dimensions on the Pale. In modern times, we can even compress its latitude, bouncing radio waves from one end to the other, shortening the path. But it is still hard for humans to navigate the Pale without getting lost, or having our minds damaged.
No więc ta gra przychodzi nagle z, nie wiem, kryminału detektywistycznego do jakiegoś science fiction, gdzie używamy fal radiowych, żeby skracać drogę między, nie wiem jak to nazwać, kontynentami i solami. Szarota może uszkodzić umysł?
Extensively.
W jaki sposób?
Some say the damage stems from extreme sensory deprivation. Others argue that Pale somehow consists of past information that's degrading, that it's rarefied past, not rarefied matter. They call it the blend over of the self. The Pale does not only suspend the laws of physics, but also the laws of psychology, maybe history even. The human mind becomes over-radiated by past.
Skoro Szarota zawiesza prawa psychologii, to może po prostu wszyscy są tutaj napromieniowani i dlatego każdy jest taki dziwny i przekoloryzowany. Jakie to uczucie, to przepromieniowanie?
It feels terrible. Absolutely terrible. International standards strictly limit civilian travelers to 6 days of pale exposure per year.
Pani nie jest cywilną pasażerką.
No, Lieutenant Dubois. I'm entreprenetic business class. I'm cleared and trained for 22 days of pale transit annually.
Perhaps that explains her strange pining after the revolution. Some degraded early memories.
Czy kierowcy ciężarówek przekraczają Szarotę?
Yes, carried in the hulls of airships. It's a horrific job. Automation will abolish it soon.
You should ask the pal driver about this. See what she says. That poor woman must have stories to tell, like you wouldn't imagine.
A pani nie jest przepromieniowana?
Up to my gills, officer.
No, Kacpro to jest raczej wynik wieloletniego alkoholizmu niż promieniowania.
An acidic smile on her lips. It's getting worse every year.
Co to jest entropeneza?
Entreprenetics is the scientific study of the pale, or a recent iteration of it by way of grad. The study of the pale reaches back 6,000 years. The Pericarnassians called it the Western Plain.
Czy oni je przekroczyli, te zachodnie równiny?
There are signs of pre-modern crossings. Successful navigation of the pale relies not just on technical know-how, but intensive psychological preparation. Some of these tactics have been known for thousands of years.
Co w takim razie zmieniła entroponetyka?
Nothing. We remain powerless before the pale. The only real advance in pale transit is the speed with which an aerostatic craft can pierce it. Less exposure leads to less effects later.
Aerostat?
Hybrid airships, Detective. Conventional rotors or jet engines no longer add velocity after the point of reference for motion is suspended, once you've crossed from near pale to far pale. In essence, we throw them in and they come out the other end. If we throw them precisely,
A jeśli nie?
then they don't.
Aha. Super metoda podróży. Ile jest Szaroty w porównaniu z całą objętością świata?
The pale outweighs reality 2 to 1. There is more pale than there is matter, and the ratio is slipping.
Niestety nie stało na naszą niekorzyść, czy
What do you think, Detective?
rośnie Szaroty jest coraz więcej i więcej?
Precisely. One of the few measurable effects of the pale is that it is expanding at an unknown rate. An intuitive conclusion of that development is that one day the pale will cover everything. But this sort of talk is mostly left to extremists.
Ale w tym nie ma nic ekstremalnego. Wiem, że to się stanie.
Most people, and indeed most private and government sector organizations, entire civilizations and religions even, find handy ways to ignore or downplay that knowledge. I suggest you do the same.
Off we go. You see the hanged man's mouth open.
Ruszamy w leżącą przed nami Szarotę.
One and all. They say pale is death, but for the universe,
Why should we just leave, and the world get left behind?
Powróćmy proszę do rzeczywistości.
yes, sweet reality. But before we do, tell me, Detective, is this the first time you're hearing this? Do you really not remember anything?
Wyczuwam czasem jakieś niejasne cienie przeszłości i nie jest ona wesoła.
Then tell me, what do you think of the pale?
Żeby powstrzymać tylko komunizm. Miała pani rację, to disco.
Your ailing constitution sweaty forehead, the beads there, and your heavy breathing.
You really didn't know. This does not spell good for the investigation, Detective. If you don't know even this, then...
To będzie jebana katastrofa, wiem to na pewno. Wszyscy ci ludzie zginą.
Steel yourself, officer. Your colleague, Lieutenant Kitsuragi, he is competent. I checked up on him. And you also have me. I will try to assist you in any way I can.
Some of that assurance is meant for herself, as much as it's meant for you. She must have a lot on the line here.
Even if we have to do it one basic term at a time.
Good. You have not passed out from it. Perhaps I worried for nothing. Are we still on the reality lowdown, or should we do actual police work now?
Nie powinieneś był się martwić.
But I did. Anyway.
Damn it, you're a grown man, the lieutenant thinks. Shouldn't have gotten protective hair.
Znaczy, z tego co wiem, Zamojku, to miało być standalone DLC do Disco Elysium. Tylko że studio się rozpadło. Najwyraźniej komunizm w pracy nie wpływa pozytywnie na samą pracę. No dobrze, bierzmy się do pracy, poruczniku.
Good luck, detectives.
To było ciekawe. Bardzo pojebane, bardzo apokaliptyczne. Trochę taka szarota to metafora kosmosu, która się ciągle powiększa, ale nas w końcu pochłonie. Pytanie kiedy? Zobaczyliśmy jaskółkę. Muszę się przebrać, tak poza tym... co ja miałem na sobie? Miałem na sobie... marynarkę oficerską i którąś koszulę. Nie no, ostatnio właśnie chyba... Nie wiem, gdzie mi się to wyświetliło. Na grach online, czy coś takiego, że anulowali swoje plany co do DLC. Może po prostu, nie wiem, inny projekt wzięli. To jest ten typ od gejowskiego kochanka, jak on się... Znaczy domniemanego gejowskiego kochanka. Siema, nieziemski. Co tam, jak tam? Czy to jest topona z mojego wozu motorowego? Kościół odblokowany. No, za daleko. Muzyka. To była jakaś myśl. No. Spokojnie, to nie twoje. Jej. Spoglądam na siebie ja sam. Wow. That's deep. Daj mi jeden punkt w przekonywanie. Nie no, mówiłem ci nieziemski, że XCOM jest super. Naprawdę najlepszy sklep. Ilu ludzi się nacięło na XCOMie, to... Zresztą XCOM chyba zrobił jeszcze kiedyś przekręt. Pamiętam, coś ze Switchem było. Tylko nie pamiętam dokładnie co. Czy też wystawili Switcha, którego nie mieli? Z zajebistej cenie i ludzie pozamawiali? Coś na pewno było. Także mówię, no XCOM trochę zawodzi. Uspokajająca muzyka. Okulary super gwiazdy. I magnes. Dlaczego gra podejrzewa, że ja mam słabą psychikę i morale? No. Aha, tu się nie przejdzie. Właśnie co do morali. Morale i morale.
A scattering of bullet holes is spread across the cracked wall, reaching from one corner to the other.
Patrz, Kim, znowu dziury po kulach. Ewidentnie coś się tutaj wydarzyło.
Correct. The density of the bullet holes is unusual, even in a general average bullet hole frequency in Martinez sense. Grim affairs. Meaning this is a lot of bullet holes. Looks like fully automatic rifle fire. Something you don't see these days.
Czemu?
The manufacturing and sale of automatic rifles was curtailed after the revolution. The destructive power of such tools proved to be too much. We do need to retain some humanity in this world.
Wow. Czyli chcą zrobić drugą część jednak. Dobra, matematyka wzrokowa, co my tu mamy? Okularki. Chyba nic więcej nie mam na matematykę wzrokową. Tak, to ma minus. Spróbujmy.
A scattering of bullet holes is spread across the cracked
42%, come
wall,
on.
reaching from one corner to the other. A row of ghostly
Yay.
shades stand facing the wall. There are many of them, a dozen at least, their heads lowered and eyes blindfolded. It's quiet. No sound, no movement.
Not jej. Dlaczego zrobiłem jej do sceny rozstrzelania robotników? Albo rewolucjonistów. Czy ta książka ma polską wersję? Czy ją przetłumaczyli? Bo brzmi ciekawie. Cześć, zresztą sam zrobię research. Oczywiście. Polecić po klatkach na chwilę. Nie, no dopiero co niedawno w maju 2023 wydali ją po angielsku. Autor nazywa się Robert Kurwic. Robert Kurwica. Książka Roberta Kurwica. Nie wiem, dlaczego mnie to śmieszy, to jest debilne. Ale jest co najwyżej po angielsku. Szkoda, podejrzewam, że jednak... Trzymaj się, Kacpro. I zdrowie życzę, że jednak to byłoby zbyt ambitna... To byłoby zbyt ambitna lektura jak na mój angielski.
10 meters away, other shades are lined up in an orderly manner. Automatic rifles primed. A gust of wind blows by. The coats of the firing squad flap slowly in the breeze. A single person stands on the side. Snowflakes fall on the wooden planks and the surrounding sand dunes, covering the land with the white of innocence. A long time has passed since the moment of this fusillading. Rain and brine have since washed all the blood away. Not a trace remains.
Co to jest?
The abundance of bullet holes leads to two options. Either an inordinate amount of executions were performed here, or they did not use a conscience round, where only one soldier has the loaded rifle. Looks like this was a mass execution with everyone fully armed.
Metoda czystości sumień. Spójrz na ludzi pod ścianą.
A host of men, probably in everyday clothes, ragged from the conflict and covered in dust. They were not sitting, a common practice for executions in some nations, as demonstrated by the height level of the bullet holes. They stand, facing the wall. It's impossible to discern any details about their personality or background. Ordinary people, familiar, each and every one of them.
Kim oni byli?
Leeches, fleas, and thieves, all the freeloader scum living off the hard work of others. Such is your belief. Maybe you should change it. They were praying, screaming.
Spójrz na szereg żołnierzy.
7 men in combat uniforms and dark coats, holding automatic rifles aimed at the people. Soldiers from some side, but from which one?
Spójrz na stojącą z boku osobę.
The commandant, the one who gives the order. Machine gun fire crackling through the air. The lights of the muzzle flashes dancing on his face.
Kim? Kto kogo zabijał w tej egzekucji?
I don't know. I don't know who died here, lined up beside that horrible wall. It could have been any of the parties involved in the revolution. Perhaps the ones executed here were the loyalist conservatives, killed by the communists at the start of the Civil War. Or it could have been the communists, put to death during the last stretch of the conflict by the coalition forces. It could even have been the employees of the failed R&D center down the coast, as their building was taken over by the revolutionaries.
Or maybe...
A ludzie koalicji, tak zwani moraliści.
Yeah, it's very unlikely the coalition forces were the ones who died here. They were always the last ones against the wall. To be honest, if a coalition member was anyone in this situation, it was a commandant, the superior giving the orders.
Dobra, spoko. Wszystko rozumiem, ale dlaczego jest opcja dialogowa do widzenia? Mówiono do muru. Powinno być same odejdź.
A cold sea wind blows away the figures. Behind this building, the other one, once filled with engineers and designers of Feld Electric, now collapsed and dead, but for some rats. You feel drawn, for some reason, to the faded mural again. A row of ghostly shades facing a crumbling wall, with another 7 shades standing 10 meters from them. A single person stands on a cold sea. Behind this building, the other one.
Dobra. Tu była jakaś myśl? Zachowaj ostrożność. Czy deska może się załamać, jeśli będę biegł? Wolę nie sprawdzać. Pipo. The fuck is Pipo? A, to jest Pipo. Pipo. Wracam do kapelusza. Kapelusza w sumie. Czyżbyśmy znaleźli naszą poszukiwaną Ruby? Musiałem skojarzyć imię. A ten co
As
tutaj
you
robi?
approach, the man turns and greets you with a polite wave. He appears completely at ease, like a common holidaymaker.
Ah, super. It's the officer. I was not expecting to run into you again, but things have a funny way of turning out, no?
A kiedy miałeś wizytę? Kurwa, muszę się rozebrać. Raz gorąco, raz zimno. Menopauza czy chuj? Na poniedziałek. To jeszcze nie jest tak tragicznie, chyba że ci całkiem wypadnie. Kurwa, ja przez te święta w ogóle dni mi się pomyliły. Przez to, że w poniedziałek był świąteczny, myślałem, że dzisiaj jest dopiero środa. Prawie przegapiłem te badania poranne. Prawie odjebałem i zjadłem śniadanie.
What brings you down to the scenic Martinez coast?
Zastanawiam się raczej, co robi tutaj pan.
Well, that's très simple. I was visiting the fishing village just north of here. They have applied for a series of microloans to revitalize the old market. And well, I wish to see the situation firsthand. And then, well, I had some extra time on my hands, so I decided to stroll down here. It's quite peaceful, isn't it?
Wie pan, że tam miała miejsce masowa egzekucja?
Really? Here? How can you be sure?
Mam coś w rodzaju daru. Umiem odtwarzać rzeczy, które miały miejsce w przeszłości. To skomplikowana detektywistyczna procedura.
Ah, a very useful gift for a police detective, I'm sure. Fascinating how much history is contained right here. If only one knows where to look for it.
Nie no, podejrzewam, że we wtorek to ty nie powinieneś jechać... w poniedziałek po dentyście nie powinieneś jechać samochodem. To się bardzo źle skończy.
You feel like there's something you could say here, if only you really knew what was going on.
Właściwie to chciałem spytać pana o coś innego.
Ah bon? I'm all ears, officer.
Potrzebuje pan pomocy w powołaniu komitetu. Chcę rozdzielać la responsabilité.
My friend, if it's la responsabilité you're after, I have good news for you. There's no need to form such a committee, because it already exists. The Comité de Responsabilité de Revachol. It acts as a sort of clearinghouse for coalition activities. To put it simply, they are the ultimate arbiters of la responsabilité in this part of the world.
Yes, this is just the sort of reasonable authority you're looking for.
I would offer to connect you with the committee myself, but alas, I am not actually in Martinez.
What? Where is he then? You knew there was something strange about this one. He's an astral projection, a bureaucratic phantasm.
No nie, po prostu jest tu nieoficjalnie. Spróbuj przeniknąć. Nie, więc gdzie pan jest?
Why, officially, I am still in La Delta, preparing for an upcoming conference on fuel oil derivatives. I'm only in Martinez in an unofficial capacity. That's why it would be extremely irregular, or potentially even inappropriate for me to intercede with the committee concerning a district I'm not officially in.
Jak w takim razie mam się skontaktować z komitetem?
Well, under ordinary circumstances, the committee contacts you. But if you have information of a vital interest, they might be willing to entertain an exception. In which case, I would advise you to contact them via Coalition Warship Archer.
Jak można skontaktować się z okrętem wojennym koalicji?
This is quite the problem. Very tricky. Of course, the Archer has orders to fire on any unidentified aerostatics that might approach it, so it might be safer to get in touch from the ground. But in that case, you would require a radio transmitter capable of broadcasting on coalition frequencies. And that kind of technology naturally isn't typically available for non-coalition use. Yes, it is a bit of a conundrum. I suppose there might be some way to circuit bend your way onto those frequencies, but you'd have to be one of those techno-tinkerers to do it.
Zna pan któregoś z tych majsterkowiczów?
Unfortunately not, no. I don't have the pleasure. I am merely a representative of the coalition government, not very well versed in technology. But you,
Ah, good. Techno tinkerers. Just what this side task was missing.
Spoko, że ta gra coraz bardziej burzy czwartą ścianę. I mean, oni już to nazywają pobocznymi zadaniami. Tylko nie wiem, czy to jest kwestia tłumaczenia, czy nie. Tak samo jak znaleźliśmy to studio tworzące grę, gdzie jestem pewny, że tak naprawdę to był ten cały zaum.
let me just say that I have complete confidence in the RCM. I'm sure you'll figure something out.
Dziękuję za poświęcony czas.
Always my pleasure to be of assistance to the RCM. Godspeed, and if we don't meet again, bonne chance.
Ogólnie chciałem też pogadać z
There's
Klasiem.
no way the perp is in here, officer. Look how scarred the boards are. All attempts to pry them off have failed.
A ja mogę spróbować wejść?
Not this time. The opposition is insurmountable, but I like the spirit. Have some points. It's lonely and cold without points.
Moje ciało samo mówi mi, że daje mi expa
And dangerous.
za próbowanie.
Dangerous too.
Kim myślisz, że ona tam jest?
The suspect? God, I hope not. I can't see a way in, though many have tried.
W takim razie nie ma tu nic więcej do roboty. Czuję, że będzie tu coś więcej do roboty. Ogólnie to miałem też wrócić do klasy z Kimem, bo już ją przegadaliśmy. Znaleźć kryptozoologa. Znaleźć... Właśnie miałem pójść wzdłuż wybrzeża. Znaleźć paszport Klasie. Czyżby kryptozoolog Morel?
Here we go. Nice and easy. No way out, little guys. Not
There's a cylinder on the ground in which the man is arranging some netting. It looks like some kind of trap. He notices you.
Who's there? Oh, the police. Hello, officers.
Is that the police? Why are the police here?
Tak, kryptozoolog Morel z kryptofaszystą Garym. Ale się dobrali.
Don't worry, Gary. I'll handle it.
Pan jest zapewne Morel, kryptozoolog.
To what do I owe the pleasure?
Przysłał mnie Lena, bardzo się o panu martwi i czeka, aż pan wróci.
Of course. Thank you for passing along the message. That damn water lock is broken, and we can't go all the way around the 881.
Śluza została naprawiona, działała, kiedy przez nią przechodziłem. Nie będziemy mówić, że to my ją rozjebaliśmy.
Oh, good. We should really be getting back. Gary could use a hot shower and a warm bed.
Did he say we can go back now?
Yes, Gary! We can go soon! If you see Lena, tell her I won't be long.
Sir, your wife is waiting for you.
I just have to do one more round. See if the phasmid has taken the bait. Then we're going.
For all his passion, this man is diligent and patient. You could learn things from him.
Szukam podejrzanej. Widzieliście tu może kobietę o czerwonych włosach, która wyglądała jakby uciekała?
I'm afraid not, officer. I've been busy digging around in the reeds for days, looking for signs of insect activity. I'm less interested in mammalian concerns, to be perfectly honest.
The lieutenant takes a short note in his notebook, then gestures for you to proceed.
Proszę opowiedzieć mi o tym straszyku, którego pan szuka.
Well, first of all, it's damn difficult to find, which is why we've been knee-deep in the reeds laying traps for it.
Czemu jest taki trudny do znalezienia?
Good question. Being a phasmid of the order Phantasmodea, a ghost insect, it disguises itself as plant matter. In this case, the reeds. Awful lot of reeds around, aren't there? And I suspect it may have also developed other specialized techniques to protect itself from predators, or scientists in our present case.
Jakich wyspecjalizowanych technik używa straszyk, żeby się ukryć?
It's my hypothesis that it has evolved certain electrochemical defenses that allow it to interfere with animal perception, impeding pattern recognition, confusing the visual cortex. But I cannot describe how these defenses work, much less how they evolved, without studying a live specimen.
Yes, it makes perfect sense. You're beginning to suspect there's something paranatural about this phasmid.
Dobra, skoro straszyk zakłóca rozpoznawanie kształtów oraz oszukuje korę wzrokową, to czy nasze złudzenia nie wynikają może z tego, że nie wiem, za kołnierzem go mamy czy coś? Albo go wpierdoliliśmy po pijaku? Jak duży jest ten straszyk?
I'm expecting it to be quite giant. One known species of phasmid, called the Megaphasmodea zoensis, is about the size of a grown man's forearm. So,
Seems puny, to be honest.
No dobra, może go nie wpierdoliliśmy za dużo. Czemu aż tak obchodzi pana jakiś patyczak? Nie wydaje mi się równie barwny, co inne kryptydy, o których słyszałem.
typical rookie assumption. Insects are much more sophisticated creatures than those unversed in zoology give them credit for. Even simply catching a glimpse of the Insulindian phasmid would be the apex of my, of any, cryptozoologist's career. But to study it and its defenses, find out how it stayed hidden so long.
Would be glory itself.
Czego się pan dotąd o nim dowiedział?
Very little, I'm sorry to say. No one's ever captured a specimen, so all our information is based on first and third-hand accounts.
Czyli nikt go nigdy nie znalazł?
Not yet. That's what makes it a cryptid.
Just out of curiosity, if there's no proof of its existence, how do you know it's real?
I know it's real,
Aha, po prostu wiem.
by which I mean, I've heard enough first-hand accounts to believe quite firmly that the Insulindian phasmid is more than mere superstition.
What would it be like to grasp and hold onto something you think is next to you, or just behind you, like a trace of vapor you exhaled one spring morning as a child? This is what he's searching for. A spectre.
Milena mówiła, że był on widziany tutaj w Martinez.
Yes, the most recent sighting was by a couple of teenagers along the coast here. That's what brought us to Martinez specifically. It's the first credible sighting in several decades. Admittedly, it's an unusual location for this species, but with all the sewage runoff upstream, it probably doesn't matter much anymore.
A może insulidiański straszyk wyginął?
I have to resist the thought. Such an extraordinary creature is doubtlessly highly resilient. After all, it's generally thought to be capable of parthenogenesis.
Partenogenezy?
Yes, the females don't need males to reproduce. Makes it easier for a species to survive in adverse conditions.
To całkiem sprytne.
Yes, the Insulindian phasmid is a very clever insect. That's why it's so damn difficult to catch. But as a scientist, I'll try my best to remain dispassionate.
Proszę powiedzieć mi o tych pułapkach.
Well, they may not look impressive, but Lena designed them quite cleverly, so I'm sure they'll do the trick.
Milena opracowała pułapki.
Yes,
More than some, he admires this about her.
Jak działają te pułapki?
simple. Attracted by the locusts, the phasmid crawls down the funnel and, having eaten its fill, can get back out. At least, that's the intention. The net isn't a perfect solution, but we didn't want to use anything that might damage the specimen's delicate exoskeleton.
Czego używa pan jako przynęty?
Locusts. Nearly all known phasmids are herbivores, of course. But we've hypothesized that the Insulindian phasmid might occasionally prey on other insects.
Inside the traps, a number of locusts crawl and tumble over one another in a tiny, chittering swarm.
Co pan zrobi, jeśli pułapki nie zdadzą egzaminu?
They'll work, I assure you. The predatory hypothesis, using locusts as bait, accounts for the failure of previous efforts by other teams, which use plants. We have given this some thought.
Mogą spotkać się o coś innego?
Yes. What?
Lena wydaje się niecierpliwie wyczekiwać pańskiego powrotu.
And I'm eager to return to her, I assure you. But I can't leave before we finish with these traps. My wife understands that just as well as anyone.
Come on, Morale. We've been soaking out here for days. It's time to go back.
And leave the traps? Absolutely not. I won't let Lena down.
Come on, she wants us back. I'm soaked up to my nuts over here. We'll both catch reed crabs if we don't dry out soon.
No nie wierzą. Robi pan to dla siebie, nie dla niej.
I'm doing this for science, and so is she.
Nie wiedziałem, że straszek jest dla Leny taki ważny.
Of course it's important to her. She's seen it. A verified sighting, on record. One of only 4 this century, and it's hers.
Naprawdę? Widziała straszyka? Nie mówiły mi tego.
Yes, that's how we first came to know one another, in fact. But that's her story to tell, not mine.
Needless to say, you must ask her about the mysterious phasmid.
Suffice to say, it's long been our dream to find proof of the Insulindian phasmid together. I can't abandon course now.
Może moglibyście wrócić do Erling, trochę się rozgrzać, a pułapki wrócić sprawdzić później.
No. The traps need to be monitored on a regular schedule. What would we do if the phasmid were to starve while we were sipping tea at the hostel?
He's dead set on this.
A gdybyśmy sprawdzili dla pana te pułapki?
I didn't expect you to take such an interest in our work here, officer.
Kryptozoologia i technika śledcza mają dużo podobieństw.
Yes, indeed. Both require a great deal of research, attention to detail, and, above all, persistence.
Gdzie są te pułapki?
There are 4 in total. One is to the south, on this little peninsula, by the boathouses there. It's very near. Another we set in Land's End, to the northeast. It's behind a small sand dune there, on your way to the old radio tower, after the church. The third is set near the canal, where you crossed, by a concrete slab. A big thicket of reeds going up the slope, and among them, you should check at least one of those before returning to this one, since I just said it. This one's more of a technicality, but still, better safe and stupid than...
That seems like a lot. Do we really have time for this extracurricular venture?
Ale kim? Może nasz podejrzany ukrywa się w trzcinach razem z pułapkami?
I have a feeling the only people foolish enough to spend their time skulking among the reeds are these poor fools, and us. But fine, it's not like we are drowning in leads.
Co mam zrobić, jeśli w którejś z pułapek będzie straszyk?
Bring it to me at once. Just make sure the trap is closed tight.
Jeśli spotkam straszyka na wolności?
That's highly unlikely, officer. But in the event you do, I'll spray you with a pheromone mixture I developed.
Did you hear that? Pheromones. You were right about the teenagers.
A więc to faktycznie straszyk zmusił nastolatków do całowania się.
Oh, I doubt there is any connection there. Anyway, these pheromones will attract the insect to you, or at least prevent it from bolting at the sight of you. It's quite potent. Should last you about a week.
Dawaj pan, tylko dużo.
This is the smell of dying reeds, of longing crumbling into the water.
I hope you're not buying this. He dispenses it without letting you touch the canister, so it would be precious like holy water.
It is precious. A single dose cost me 50 real to develop. Not that I expect you to understand self-financing one's own research.
Jestem gotów, bierzmy się do pracy.
Right, which means you two can pack up and go back to the whirling.
Whatever he thinks about this detour, it's clear that these men are exhausted and in need of assistance.
Finally, someone's talking sense.
Thank you for your help. Gary and I will start breaking down camp. If you have any more questions, now's the time to ask. We'll be gone once you get to it.
If it's more cryptid-related business you want to discuss, you'll have time for that later too. But what if the information is vital? On the hunt.
Jak został pan kryptozoologiem?
I've just always liked animals and puzzles. Searching for cryptids is a bit of both.
Ale to ci tłumaczył mnie Ziemski, że będą coraz mniejsze szanse na drop tego Warframe'a i coraz bardziej upierdliwe będzie samo dropienie. Tylko i wyłącznie po to, żebyś przełamał się i do kolekcji jednak wydał ten hajs. 20 zł to niedużo. Ale jednak...
He seems reluctant to talk about himself, but he'll open up, if you prod a little.
A więc spełni pan tutaj swoje marzenie z dzieciństwa.
It's not child's play. Just because I have to traipse through the mud every so often.
Czemu nie został pan zwykłym zoologiem? Prawdziwe zwierzęta też bywają zagadkowe.
Real. I know you think one is a respectable profession, while the other is superstition. Everyone does.
Ja nie, to zawód jak każdy inny.
Indeed. My methods do not differ from other scientists. I simply draw upon a wider variety of evidence. And I have more hope that something truly surprising might happen.
Your nerve endings tell you there is no such thing as a positive surprise.
A przydarzyło się kiedyś panu coś naprawdę zaskakującego?
No, as I said, I have yet to catch a cryptid, although I have come close. Close enough to keep trying.
Jakiego rodzaju dowody pan wykorzystuje?
Everything from forgotten regional lore to newspaper accounts, like the one that brought us here, to look for the phasmid. I keep a very open mind.
Ile kurwa nieziemski? 100 złotych? 153 złote? To powiem tak. Ludziom dupy pękły o monetyzację w Dragon's Dogma 2. Ale tam na przykład to działa na podobnej zasadzie, że kupowało się przedmioty, które można było zdobyć w grze i nie były aż tak drogie. Także ja pierdolę. Trochę chyba przeginka. Czyli nie odkrył pan nigdy kryptydy?
No. Very few cryptids are ever discovered, and not for a lack of trying. To stay hidden is a cryptid's primary quality. It's even in the name, cryptid.
Ile kryptyd jak dotąd znaleziono?
Of the list of cryptids kept by the Cryptozoological Society of Chemnee, which is 4,082 items long, about 2,000 have been confirmed as hoaxes. 2 are categorized as confirmed discoveries. The rest are in differing stages of discovery, refutation, and data collection.
Udowodniono prawdziwość tylko 2.
Yes, the Chateauquan forest pygmy, who turned out to be an extinct species of primate, and a cave salamander from Hugo Grad, who is, honestly, quite unremarkable. It's in a zoo somewhere. We cryptozoologists are brutally honest with ourselves. More so even than the public. With cryptids, most cryptids are hoaxes or they are never found. That does not mean we should stop searching.
Kiwnij z aprobatą głową. W takim razie insulidiański straszyk będzie trzeci.
Indeed. If our expedition is successful, every paper in the world will report on it. From Revachol to Dushan too. It will be a zoological miracle.
The hair on your arms stand up. Electricity. Sounds like reeds hissing.
Dziękuję za wyjaśnienie. Mam jeszcze inne pytanie.
Yes?
Porozmawiajmy o konkretnych kryptydach.
All right. What cryptids precisely? I usually discuss these things with specialists, so I don't know what.
We would have to discuss. He wants to say, but decides against it. Since you've offered to help, you need to ask him about specific cryptids. Cryptids you've heard about from Lena or his friend Gary. He won't just talk.
Jaką kryptydę prawie pan złapał? Wspomniał pan wcześniej, że tak było.
A willow person. It's a long story. One non-specialist would find rather dull.
Czym są wierzbowi ludzie?
They're not people, really. Some argue they aren't really animals, as they seem to have evolved directly from trees. They're very, very thin, almost flat in fact, and can camouflage themselves easily, wrapping themselves around trees and blending in with the tree bark. In that way, they're not too dissimilar from the phasmid we're looking for here.
Był taki odcinek Archiwum Mix, gdzie właśnie w jakimś parku narodowym mieszkali, nie wiem czy to nazwać ludźmi, mieszkali tacy ludzie kameleony, którzy dosłownie wtapiali się w drzewa. Tam była chyba teoria, że to jest jakaś hiszpańska załoga, która znalazła źródło młodości i żyli tak długo, że wyewoluowali właśnie wytwarzając sobie takie zdolności kamuflażu. Ale Archiwum Mix było pojebane momentami. Jak doszło do tego, że prawie złapał pan wierzbowego człowieka?
Gary and I painted an entire grove's worth of trees in slow drying paint. It was a bright lavender colour. I was hoping one of the willow people would get paint on it and not be able to camouflage itself. After waiting in hiding for hours, I saw a figure slip from one of the trees, a lavender shadow dashing through the grove.
A potem?
I chased it with a net. Not very elegant. You can't be elegant in the field. And, well, it was faster than me.
A lavender shadow.
I know you think we were snacking on funny mushrooms. It's easier to mock someone than to admit that the world might be more interesting than you've imagined. Furthermore, I'm not saying it was a confirmed sighting. I'm painfully aware of what goes into verifying such things. There is a serious possibility that I saw a squirrel or a trick of the light. I am my own harshest critic.
A kiedy Lena widziała straszyka, czy to...
Confirmed. It's 100% verified and meets all the standards of an authentic cryptid sighting.
Dość już za tym opowieści, zmieńmy temat.
By all means.
Pójdę już. Holy shit. Trochę tego jest. Czyżby boje klasje?
A
Mamy,
metal and plastic contraption bobs up and down amidst the trembling
mamy jej
reeds.
paszport.
At first, it just looks like trash. But if you look closer,
That over there must be the boy class she told us about. The one she hid her passport in. We should take a look.
Podnieść boję.
you lift the boy out of the water without much effort. It's not tied to anything. The cords dangling from the bottom appear to have been cut.
Przyjrzyj się plastikowej kuli.
The number 11 has been written on the yellow plastic. It hasn't been in the water for very long, but it's already discolored and slimy with silt. A latch holds it close, but only just barely. The brittle metal of the latch has cracked.
Simple construction. Very unsafe.
Potrząśnij boję.
There's something in there, splashing around.
Wąchaj boję.
It smells like you would expect it to smell. A concentrated version of the coast. Salt, industrial slop and decay.
Otwórz boję.
A shot glass's worth of seawater pours out. Some algae, and nothing else.
Well, damn.
Całe szczęście, że wciąż tu jest. Jeszcze trochę potryfowałoby w dal.
We still got here too late. There's nothing of use here anymore.
Żadnych dokumentów. Jak myślisz, kto je zabrał?
I have no idea.
Katastrofa, wszystko przypadło.
I wouldn't go so far as to say that. This is only a small loose end, but I do wish we knew who took the documents.
Może Klasy sama je wzięła?
That may very well be the case. We should keep an eye on her. Nothing more for us to do here. Let's go.
You could ask the miss what she thinks. Later, if you have the time. Though you doubt she'll tell you much. at
Czyli w
this
sumie
point.
muszę wrócić do Klasy i tak. Z dwóch powodów. Pierwszy to jest to, że dramaturgię wygrałem, to, że ona jednak kłamie. Czemu wy nie poszliście do domu? Jej, pieniądze. Czy mogę wejść tu na górę? Mogę. Mogę pogadać z ludźmi na górze. Co to w ogóle za lokacja? Kościół, tak?
Someone has left an unidentifiable article of clothing on this railing. It smells really bad.
Przyjrzyj się dokładniej.
It's streaked with dried seagull shit and tangled with pieces of seaweed. A dangling arm suggests that there might be a jacket beneath the...
Please tell me you're not taking that with you.
To może być wskazówka.
A clue? You think our suspect is a seagull who's been defecating on unsuspecting jacket?
Nie.
Me neither.
You should still take it.
Brudna kurtka. Wzięliśmy obsaraną kurtkę. Tak jest. To było mi potrzebne. Co to jest? Pocztówka. Są drobniaki. Weźmy wszystko. Zaraz zobaczył tu molo. Pojemnik na wino otwarty i pusty. Ktoś tu był. To pewnie bimber. Byliśmy tutaj. Nasi tu byli. Soczewki korekcyjne. A, swoją drogą nieziemskim. Pytałeś co do słuchawek, nie? Odkryłem jedną rzecz wczoraj, jak sobie słuchałem wieczorem muzyki.
A metal payphone under a yellow plastic dome. You could use it to call someone, unless you're out of change.
Okazało się, że to gniazdo, które jest poluzowany, nie? To, że czasem przerywa, jak dziwnie kabel pociągnę, to jedno. Ale jak głośniej słucham muzyki, ono wpada w wibrację i brzęczy. I wiem, że to jest to, bo brzęczy tylko dosłownie od strony kabla. I już chuj z przerwaniem, ale to jest tak wkurwiające, że po prostu podnieś słuchawkę.
You hear the tone. The machine is inoperable.
Śmiertelnie poważnie nieziemski. Dosłownie w środku słyszę, że brzęczy mi plastik. Albo jakaś metalowa śrubka, czy chuj wie co. Coś brzęczy w lewej słuchawce. Od kabla. Tak. Żyć, nie umierać. Zajebista jakość wykonania. Wiem, że nie powinienem krytykować słuchawek, które dostałem z darmo, ale bym nie chuj, jaki to jest szajs. Dosłownie. W momencie, jak zaczęły się sypać, to wszystko po kolei. Zaczęło się od opaski. Opaskę byłbym w stanie przeżyć. Byłem w stanie to sobie wytłumaczyć, że mój koślawy łeb rozciągnął materiał. Kabel spoko. Rozumiem. Może to moje winy, może gdzieś zahaczyłem, chociaż i tak uważam, że to winę konstrukcji, że kabel USB nie padnie ci kurwa nieziemski ten kabel. Nie myślę o tym. To jest gruby, mocny kabel, nie taki gówno. Dobrze osadzony. O ile go nie zniszczysz w jakiś dziwny sposób, nic się nie stanie. Wybierzmy losowy numer 005 24 03 155.
Calling. Still calling. This feels wrong. Should you be doing this?
Czy to jest numer naszej ex?
End of tone. Someone picks up.
Pierre, is that you, Pierre?
Może tak, jaki jest Pierre.
So nice of you to find the time to call me. It gets so lonely. Even the animals have died.
To niedobrze.
Are you sure you're Pierre? Your voice, it's different. There. Chrysanthemum.
Her voice is drowned in white noise. Sounds like waves washing a beach, growing in volume until the call suddenly disconnects. You get a sinking feeling. It makes you look if Lieutenant Kitsuragi overheard you. To your relief, he did not.
Czy to jest ten sam numer? 155 912. Nie, to jest inny numer. Czy ja chcę dzwonić? Zadzwońmy jeszcze raz.
Calling. Still calling. Again? Seriously? Someone with a masculine voice picks up.
Hello, Gerard speaking.
Girard? Co za kretyńskie imię? Zmieni imię.
What are you, like 5? Thanks for calling, asshole.
Phone hanging up. Disconnect tone.
To co, jeszcze raz? Nie, no nieziemski, mówię. Nie zakładaj od razu porażki. Musisz pomyśleć o tym bardziej na zasadzie... To może inaczej. Wiesz, czym jest samospełniająca się przepowiednia? Jeżeli będziesz cały czas myślał o tym, że to rozjebiesz, to prędzej czy później to rozjebiesz. Dlatego musisz ukierunkować swoje myśli w innym kierunku, nie myśleć o potencjalnej porażce i wtedy zmniejszasz bardzo szansę na to, że się rozjebie. Jeszcze jeden losowy telefon, ostatni.
Calling. 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 Still calling. Still calling.
Stop calling me, man. I'll get you your money, alright? I just need till tonight. Let me work.
Ludzie powinni być dla siebie nieco bardziej dobrotliwi, nie uważasz? Możesz uważać swój dług za spłacony, przyjacielu.
My debt? I don't fucking owe you. It's... Who is... never mind. I don't have time for this.
He does not seem to be overly thankful of your kindness as he hangs up. Disconnect tone.
Dobra, odejdźmy. Ale nie, no serio, nieziemski, to nie jest coś, co musi się stać. Nawet jeśli rozwalisz ten kabel, to mówię ci, że naprawa tego to... Nie wiem, 3 dychy. Saint-Brunet. Wydaje mi się, że tutaj może być moje poszukiwana. Ale najpierw sprawdźmy słupę. No. Ktoś pieniądze poukrywał. I potężny pilsner. Dziwne trochę, ale okej. Tam też były pieniądze. Mówię, ja bym bardzo chętnie zmienił słuchawki. Po prostu to, w jakim tempie zaczął się rozpadać ta, jest przerażające. Czy to będzie ta pułapka? To jest jakiś namiot w ogóle chyba. Przejście...
You see that seagull up there? Remind you of anybody?
Kima?
What? Kim? No, it's you. You and the seagull are just alike.
Myślałem, że jestem kakadu. Czemu jestem jak mewa?
Think about the seagull's story. It's one of endurance and adaptation. The seaside was paradise once. They were birds of that paradise.
Wiem, nieziemski, ale uwierz mi, że lepiej jest mieć więcej kabla i go zwinąć, niż jak ma ci brakować. Zresztą wracam do przykładu numer 1. Kabel od Arktisów. 1,10 m z przedłużką. Jest za krótki. Nawet jakbym używał go do telefonu, który miałbym w kieszeni, i tak byłby krótki. Nie wiem, dlaczego producenci tak żałują na kable.
Then their paradise became Shit City. And what did they do? They became urban survivors, eating burgers out of trash cans, killing and eating pigeons.
Zjadłbym burgera. Co prawda nie ze śmietnika, ale bym zjadł.
No time for that sentimental bullshit. They're hustlers, getting shit done. They're one pair of track pants away from gangsters, just like you.
No to chyba faktycznie jestem trochę jak mewa.
Exactly. The seagull does what it takes, and so do you. You've got that same spirit in you. When the time comes, you push yourself.
Znaleźliśmy nasze duchowe zwierzę. Czyli jednak nie jestem kakadu. Jestem mewą. Piękną, majestetyczną, starającą na wszystko mewą. Rozejrzyjmy się najpierw, zanim z nim zagadam.
A pane of Eternite has been planted into the snow.
Czy to jest skrót jak w Soulsach?
Barely holding it up. It could fall over any minute. A stronger gust of wind might be enough.
Co to jest?
It looks like a makeshift bridge. Could be convenient.
Przewróć Eternit.
The pane falls into the icy snow with a soft thunk.
We should ask that girl on the ice what's going on here.
Czyjś dom z dala od domu. Także no mówię, nieziemski, nie przejmuj się tak tym kablem. Mogło być dużo gorzej.
The tent is just tarpaulin fabric covering a pile of stuff. The flap is open. Inside, 3 young men are listening to some new form of music. It's like nothing you've ever heard. One of them looks at you.
Come on, get in and close the flap behind you. The warm stuff's getting out.
Wciśnij się do środka.
Sorry, we barely have room for one.
You go ahead. I'm too old for this.
I'm actually not, he thinks. I just dislike delinquents.
I'm sure you will feel right at home. I'll keep watch.
Co to za impreza? Nieziemski, równie dobrze może ci się zepsuć komp. Także śmierdzi potem i detergentem do prania. Kanister wypełniony wodą destylowaną. Spray do nasał safet. Głośnik.
A young man with peroxide blonde hair holds up a Harman Walshi tape player, nodding along to the music. He looks at you with a knowing smile
Wygląda trochę jak
and
wampir.
says,
Nosferatu.
as though you're supposed to be sharing some tremendous evangelical secret.
Hardcore!
Nic nie mów.
Hardcore!
Ale naprawdę, tak serio?
Yeah!
Możesz mówić takie i inne przypadkowe rzeczy przez cały dzień, ale ten numer nadal nie brzmi jak dla mnie aż tak hardkorowo.
Spinning out lyrics since the day I was born. And the amount of lyrics I got is against the law.
Could there have been a right way out of this garden of forking paths, you think?
Czy jak zgadam z innym,
You
to...
see a youngish man bleaching the tips of his hair with a toothbrush. He puts the toothbrush down and extends his hand in greeting.
Hello, I'm Andre. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Uściśnij mu dłoń.
His grip is strong, sweaty, and warm. He's trying to project and inspire confidence.
This is my posse, Noid.
The young man with earrings looks at you suspiciously.
And Egghead. Egg! Together with a Settle Burger, who's out there right now, doing some seriously progressive sonic experimentation, we like to think of ourselves as music venue organisers.
Zaraz, ile lokali muzycznych dotąd zorganizowaliście?
We have many in the pipeline, officer.
Czemu tu jesteście?
You see, we've been all over Jamrock North, prospecting for real estate to establish a new venue in.
Also for talent.
Yeah, thank you, Egghead. And while there is no shortage of raw, unfettered talent spinning tapes in Jamrock, we've had rotten luck with the real estate part.
Place is a shithole.
I apologise for my friend Noid's potty mouth. I realise this is not how you speak to a police officer. He has authority issues.
Nie ma za co, całkiem tutaj kiepsko.
Which brings me to the problem of occupied ecclesiastical property. I bet you've noticed the derelict hive of narcomania on the coast.
An attempt to pander to your perceived conservative sensibilities. No person his age would ever use a word like narcomania with a straight face. Don't fall for it.
Dość tej obłudy, o czym ty mówisz.
I'm talking about the church, and I'm not exaggerating. Even a place of spiritual refuge can become a magnet for all sorts of dopeheads and burnouts if left unattended.
Dopeheads. Burnouts.
Well, I'm sad to say, that's exactly what happened. Sad because we were just about to put Martinez on the map with one of the maddest dance clubs in Jamrock. Nah, strike that, in Revachol.
Strike that. The world.
And sadder yet, because the dopeheads and burnouts holed up in there were the worst kind.
He leans back a little, watching you with a steady, serious gaze, letting you imagine just how bad those dopeheads and burnouts really are. Good. This calls for an opinion. You're an expert in those.
Nie godzą się na obecność jakichkolwiek narkomanów, nie na mojej zmianie.
Yes, yes. And the worst part is, they're also spooky.
Strasznego, czyli jakiego dokładnie?
I was hoping you would be the judge of that, officer. All I can say is, their spookiness is the kind that keeps us from restoring this church into a community centre and a place of spiritual refuge. Also, they don't eat or clean the building. Shit's gonna collapse. People just wanna spin tapes without them spooking it up. Place has bad signs. No one can dance like that. Thank you, Egghead. So you're gonna look into it, right? It should be a police matter. Getting them out. Whatever spooky stuff they're doing, I'm sure it's not what the Ecclesiastes meant their property for.
Przyjrzył się temu, powiedz mi coś więcej.
All right, man.
Andre's obviously very happy you took him seriously. The whole tent is. The boys exchanged giddy looks.
Jaka jest sytuacja w tym kościele? Nie dostałem się jeszcze do środka.
I asked Noid to install a measure against more drifters wandering in. A padlock. It's a temporary fix. Just something to contain the situation. I had to do it in an hurry. Not my best work.
A co z kluczem?
For a while. Of course. Noid, give the officer the key. All right.
O kurwa, ale będzie wstyd. Bądź czadowym gliną, złap klucz w locie.
It's as if time
Fail.
is frozen
Wiedziałem.
somehow. You think you can sense the key moving in the air. Yeah, this is going to be way cool.
Nie popsuj czadwości, nie przesadź. Unieś dłoń na wysokość twarzy, wykorzystując minimalną siłę. Dostaniemy wpysk kluczami, tak?
Blam! Straight in the eye. Straight in the old eye orb. In the looking ball. A stabbing pain. Tears stream uncontrollably from your right eye.
Auć, cholerny dupek. Co z tobą nie tak? Nie widzisz, że mnie teraz boli?
Man, I'm super sorry. That was totally my bad. I got overexcited. Threw him too hard. I'm sorry.
He looks like he's genuinely sorry. He didn't throw them better.
Przepraszam, przepraszam. Prawie zamordowałeś mnie ocznie, mnie, policjanta. To jak użycie śmiercionośnej siły.
I really am sorry, man. Just take this, okay?
Wow, looks like there's quite a lot there.
Przynajmniej tyle mogłeś zrobić.
I hope that settles it.
Damn! 25 reali. Ile my mamy hajsu teraz?
The key?
He is shifting in his spot, uncomfortably, still feeling sorry for the mishap.
We were talking about the padlock, I think.
Od jak dawno ci ludzie są tam zamknięci?
Not long. Like a week, maybe?
Skąd pewność, że nie umarli z głodu?
I'm super sure they're alive. I mean, come on. I'm at least 90%, maybe 85% sure they're still alive.
85% to za mało, kiedy w grę wchodzi fizyczny dobrostan drugiej osoby.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry too. I guess it wasn't very hardcore of us to just lock them in like that.
Me too. I shouldn't have that kind of power over another person. I'm not the one with the violence monopoly here. You are. I'm glad that key is out of my hands now.
Dobrze, mam inne pytania.
Sure, man. Tell us what you want to know. Let's do it.
Kim dokładnie są ci ludzie w kościele?
Truth is, I don't really know. None of us do. I don't even know how many there are. All we've seen are glimpses.
Ostrożności nie zawadzi. Możesz mi powiedzieć coś jeszcze?
Yes. There's also the machinery.
This machinery is of the deeply mystical variety.
When I first scouted the place, back in February, it was abandoned, empty. Took some time getting the crew together. So about 2 weeks ago, we came here hoping to set the stuff up. Suddenly, there are all these strange machines lying around in there. One of them has wires running into bowls of water. Wires into water. Never seen anything like it.
Andre, tell him about the feeling.
Oh, and it felt like there was something in there with us, watching us from the dark.
No, the other one.
Which other one? I'm not as in tune with my emotions as you are, Egg.
Felt like silence. Awful silence.
For this man, even regular silence is awful enough. But that was something greater.
Ale nikogo tak faktycznie nie widziałeś.
Not exactly. We've just seen someone who we think is a woman go in and out of the church. A couple of times. And we felt someone or something eyeing us inside. But that's kinda it.
Ta kobieta była może ruda? Była kierowczynią?
Sure, why not? Yeah, but not really. Brown hair, old, heavy, dark sides.
No to jak w końcu?
What Noid said.
You have to see for yourself. These people are not reliable.
Wspomniałeś, że coś was obserwowało.
Like you aren't alone, you know? It wasn't quite human, if you know what I mean.
Zaraz jeszcze kryptydę znajdziemy.
Non-human means a predator.
It was this dark shape climbing upside down along the ceiling, like some kind of crabman.
Kraboczłek?
Yeah, you know, the way it was climbing up and around the ceiling, like a crab. It was stalking a cell, exhibiting ambush behavior.
Jesteś pewien, że był tam kraboczłek?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I didn't personally see it. A cell was alone that time, but I believe her. If she comes out running and says there's a crab in there, there's a crab in there. You should ask her about it, but be nice. Don't tell her you don't believe in the crab.
The implications of this are too numerous to consider. Proceed with caution. Learn all you can before entering that dark building.
Możesz powiedzieć mi więcej o tej maszynerii?
You should talk to Noid about that. I just got a distinct burnout and dopehead sign from them. Probably jacked up to some snuff station too. Probably, very likely.
With a small surge of PEA, alertness fills you, as if to say, this is a dark corner. Look behind it.
Podpięć do jakiejś stacji o zabijaniu?
It means like one of those rich boy private radio stations, where you can listen to people getting killed on, then jerk off to it. Sick shit.
Not that we would know anything about that. Noid just likes to relay stuff. We're getting derailed here. In short, you can tell to Noid about the machines. He'll tell you more.
Więc skąd możesz wiedzieć, że to wraki i ćpuny, skoro nawet ich nie widziałeś?
Well, honestly, I can't. But I am.
Why not? Let's go with that.
Ciężko mi się dopatrzeć jakiejś wady w tym rozumowaniu.
I'm 70% sure they're substance users. Don't let the technology fool you.
No dobrze, porozmawiajmy o czym innym.
Sure. What?
O co chodzi z jajkogłowcem? Chciałbym z nim pogadać.
He's a quiet man, mostly communicates through music, and by being a master of ceremonies.
A kto to jest mistrz ceremonii?
You know, a host, a declaimer of slogans. He's a performer, gets the people going.
Hype man. A ty? Jak się z nim porozumiewasz?
Well, he's just kinda here. I don't really know how to communicate with him.
Rozmawiałeś z nim kiedyś tak naprawdę?
Yeah, sometimes. When I stumble and find my way into his center, you have to hear a lot of hardcore to the mega first though.
The man smiles mysteriously, choosing to let the beat speak for itself.
Wspomniałeś, że kościół należy do jakichś kaznodziejów. Co to za kaznodzieje?
Oh yeah, that's a meteor and name for the founding party. Thought it'd be cool to use it.
Zanim przejdziemy dalej, co to znaczy meteorska?
You know, of Meteo, concerning Meteo.
Meteo?
Meteo, a country, on the Muindi Isla.
Och, partia założycielska. Wiem co to, ale może odświeżysz mi pamięć.
Come to think of it, I've never really looked them up, you know. I can't give you a precise definition, but they're a very powerful religious organization.
I?
And they have roots in ancient mass society. And they're the custodians of the Pericarnassian Church. Plus, they anoint the innocents. They, made the innocentic system, no?
Nie brzmi to, jakby mieli ucieszyć się z otworzenia klubu tanecznego w ich kościele.
You're totally wrong about that.
The Pericarnassian Church is about love, and Nordic music is about love. I got love for my Pericarnassian posse. Love is the relay out of death. We dance. Love is hardcore.
Unity!
Unity!
Make some noise for my Insulindian posse.
You feel it, the anodes and the cathodes coursing through you. Your big toe starts tapping along to the base, as if testing the waters.
Nic nie mów, ciesz się bitem.
Feels good.
No, miłość bywa czasem nieźle hardkorowa.
Oh yeah, it can.
He's coming around. You're getting it.
Teraz już rozumiem, że lamersko było z mojej strony sugerować coś innego. Muzyka Nordic faktycznie skupia się na miłości, tak jak kościół perykański. Perykarnaski, przepraszam, perykarnaski.
Yeah! Jako Kaka, the place to be.
He seems ecstatic that you share his vision of Pericarnassianism.
Do it for the masses. Do it for the crew.
I didn't want to say it, but it was pretty lame of you to imply otherwise. Anyway, you got more questions?
The one with the large head is still looking at you, nodding his head, waiting for your body to start moving.
Dzięki za follow, Pearl.
Yeah! Let it out! Let the disco happen! Bring the disco into this world! Get this church shit on and then dance there, motherfucker!
Chciałem spytać o ten pełen sprzęt namiot.
Yes. What?
Widzę, że masz tu swoją własną wodę.
Yeah, good to have, bitch to carry. When I first scouted the place, I did some reconnaissance. I'm not sure the church even has running water.
W dodatku jest destylowana.
Oh, it's the one they sell at the fuel station.
Paskudnie mi to mówić, ale cuchnie tu potem.
It does, doesn't it?
Told you we have a smell problem.
Miesza się z dziwacznym, chemicznym zapachem, jak detergent do prania.
He sniffs the air, then shrugs. A shrug is good enough for us. Why say it when you can shrug it?
Czemu tyle tu nosafedu?
The what now?
Nosafet Ultra, macie go tu całe mnóstwo.
Oh, the old Ultra. I have a major sinus infection, stuffy nose. We all do. Shit's all blasted up. Winter, can't even breathe.
Czyli to oni są tymi ćpunami. Nie słychać, żeby coś ci dolegało.
Yes, that's all Nosafed's doing. Without the Noser, I'd be drowning in shit right now.
Nosafed is the shit.
Mógłbym trochę dostać, też mam problem z nosem.
Sure. Here you go, officer. The Noser. Blast away.
No dobrze, dość już tego.
He nods enthusiastically, no doubt a little relieved.
To na razie wszystko.
As always, we'll be right here, waiting patiently for the news. Yeah!
To oni robią dragi, ale...
Wow, so someone's been a little boring.
Co?
Yes, my standard liege. Someone's seen all sorts of wild ideas pop off and thought, I'll take the boring one. The regular, please. The brown.
Czyli, że co, czepiasz się, że jestem za mało szurnięty? To akurat najmniejsze z moich zmartwień.
No need to be defensive. The regularity, the brownness, the cut and dry have their appeal. A very standard appeal.
Lubię standardy.
Of course you do. Maybe some regulations and a usual pistol to go with them. It's official. My lord's copper type is regular cop. I'll let everyone know.
Wow,
I'll
to jest
send out telefax.
praktycznie awans. Awansowaliśmy na glinę, zwykłego glinę, z żulicjanta. Chwila, to teraz będzie mój glinotyp?
Yes, the type of cop you are, sire. Think of it as a caste, a class even, a nation of regular law officials that you belong to. It comes, of course, with the usual benefits.
A czemu nie? Wysyłaj ten telefaks, nie wstydzę się tego.
Done and done. No actual communiques will be sent, of course. That would be too dramatic.
Dobra, zanim zbustuję logikę, co jest w sumie możliwe, bo mam parę rzeczy z bonusem. Zagadam z... zapomniałem jak on się nazywa, Nojkiem.
It's good you talked to Andre first. Gave me time to get a reading on your sign. Can't really talk to people before you get a reading.
This young speed freak seems to know a lot about signs. Could he be the techno tinkerer you're looking for? His look is intensely suspicious.
Falę?
Yeah, gotta compare. See if we can align.
Ciekawe.
I suck at socialising, man. Even now, our sign synchronisation is way off. But I'll see what I can do.
Opowiedz mi o maszynach, które widziałeś w kościele.
Weird stuff. Specialised. There was a data processor and some sort of long-wave machinery. Wires going into water. Gives off a spy sign. Or some fucked-up Samaran science sign. You know, the kind that goes head first into the supernatural.
A co jest nie tak z rzeczami nadnaturalnymi?
Nothing's wrong with it. You should definitely be researched. You can still do sick shit with it though.
The sickest. That's perhaps why it should be researched.
Rzeczy supernaturalne, supranaturalne myślisz, że są prawdziwe? Że naprawdę istnieją?
Most of it doesn't exist. But there's also stuff that isn't allowed to exist, because the moralists think it's too dangerous for the plebs. Psionic powers, pale-related diseases, pretenders pretending to be human, folk rights, that kind of stuff.
Czemu mówił na ciebie Noik?
The hardcore aesthetic is esoteric. It's not meant to be discussed with the law at this moment.
It's not easy to reach a harmonic resonance of signs without some adjustment.
Czy to znaczy, że potrzebujemy synchronizacji fal?
Yes, further sign matching would do good for us. One way to achieve this would be by getting us into the church.
Dobra, czyli jak wpuszczę ich do kościoła, to pomogą mi się skontaktować z okrętem koalicji. Mógłbyś wykorzystać swój zmysł falowy i pomóc mi skontaktować się z okrętem koalicji?
Don't think so. Big bad frequencies are extremely negative. Thought suppression, dream implantation, memory revision. Pretty out there stuff. Not sure I want to get involved with it.
There is fear there, but also curiosity. He just needs a reason to help you.
Besides, our own signs aren't even synced yet. So how am I supposed to get you synced up with a big bad? It don't make any sense, law lover.
No dobra, może wrócę później. Czyli tak, muszę im pomóc. Zagadam jeszcze z jajkogłowcem.
This is hardcore.
Nic nie mów.
Hardcore!
Nic nie mów.
Hardcore to the mega.
Nic nie mów.
Internally coherent.
Nadal nic nie mów.
Allcore! All right! Yeah!
Nic nie mów.
He furrows his brow as his very large head traces the sublime, invisible movement of the music in the very real air of the stuffy tent.
Hardcore! Ah!
Ależ hardcore.
Is it though?
Tak jest.
But is it? I mean, really?
Feels like you should reply with the very pinnacle of idiocy here, so that things get totally transcendent. But you haven't gotten there yet, so you don't know what to say.
Nie wiem, co właściwie powiedzieć.
Under the radar, over the top.
Czyli jeszcze nie, ale myślę, że to się okaże, jak im pomożemy. Jeszcze jest tutaj jeden NPC. Bonjour.
A shaggy-looking girl in her late teens or early 20s kneels on the ice with an electronic contraption in her hand. Hearing you approach, she looks up.
Dobra, zaraz z nią pogadamy. Dajcie mi tylko chwilę, skoczę do kibla. Zaraz wracam. Dobra, jestem.
Oh. Hello there.
Hello there.
She must be Estelle, the last of the speed freaks, Hossie. It's cold out here, but she's not wearing a hat. She must be freezing. Everyone knows drugs make you invulnerable to cold. You bet this one likes to party.
Ty musisz być Asel.
That's my name. I take it you have met the others. Did they tell you about the church and the club thing?
Tak.
Will you help us?
Tak, pomogę wam.
Great. Let us know if there's any progress, will ya? We've
Drogi-
been waiting for weeks here.
Drogie dziecko, jest piekielnie zimno, gdzie masz czapkę?
Huh?
Maybe she didn't hear you. A little louder.
Powiedziałem, że powinnaś założyć czapkę.
So should you.
You don't have to do anything.
Powinienem ją mam.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Miło w niej jest. Też powinnaś taką założyć, jeśli planujesz siedzieć na dworze w taką pogodę.
Yeah, well... Look, man, fuck the hat.
Your pulse rises.
Czy takie słownictwo jest naprawdę konieczne?
I'm sorry I said fuck the hat. I was concentrating on something else. My whole family swears and it rubbed off on me.
Powiedzieli mi, że wchodziłeś do kościoła, co tam widziałaś.
Oh, that. You're not gonna believe me. There's no point in me telling you.
Zobaczymy. Słucham cię, mów.
Okay. I went in and I saw a woman next to one of those machines there. Noid calls it a mainframe. She was dressed like someone who's been raised by their grandmother, you know, strange old clothes. Had this absent expression, didn't say anything, just stood still.
Mów dalej.
And then, you know, right behind her, a man crawled down the wall. Upside down like a crab, down the church wall. I think the woman didn't even know he was there. He was completely silent. He stopped right before he got to the floor, then just hung there like that, looking at me. Right at me. I fucking turned around and walked out. End of story.
Like a crab, you say?
Jak wyglądał ten kraboczłek?
It was too dark. I couldn't tell exactly.
Myliłaś się, wierzę ci.
Why?
To zbyt absurdalne jak na kłamstwo.
I guess so. Anyway, what else?
Chciałbym się dowiedzieć więcej o twoich znajomych.
My associates? I haven't got much to say about them.
Ale jak to? Coś musisz o nich wiedzieć.
Of course I do. I just don't tell people about my friends and who they are and so on. I don't provide information on them.
A ty? Opowiedz mi coś o sobie.
Me? I'm a silver bird.
Aha, dobrze. Może spytam o to wszystko później.
Don't know what makes you think it'll be any different later, but
Widziałaś może w okolicy rudą kobietę?
no.
Just no?
It's pretty desolate here. I only hear the dogs bark at night and see the shadows move down the coast.
Biorąc pod uwagę, co próbujemy tu zdziałać, nie wydaje się to dobrym znakiem.
Superstition. We can turn a grim desolation into a fun dance club and thus also help turn this hellhole around.
Co tam masz za urządzenie?
This is a portable recording device. It's for field recording. Low quality, but still.
A przewody?
Actually, just one wire. I picked on it till the braiding came loose. The wire leads to a contact microphone.
Co to jest mikrofon kontaktowy?
A contact mic records sounds from inside things, like this ice.
Jak to działa?
The mic? I don't exactly know. Somehow it doesn't pick up vibrations from the air. The book said it only picks up structure-borne sound, if you like technobabble.
Skąd masz ten mikrofon?
Same place I got the recorder from, the Palaceum.
Czym jest Paliseum?
Oh man, you haven't been to the Palaceum? It's the coolest place in this whole drug-addled shithole. It's a music club and a synthesizer workshop on Boogie Street in Jamrock. Musicians live there, like real musicians. I once saw Arno van Eyck.
Thinking about it really cheers her up. It's a long way from here, though.
Brzmi to ciekawie, kim jest ten cały Arno?
Oh yeah, guess you wouldn't know Van Eyck. Or really be a Palaceum-going kind of person.
Hey, didn't Piss and Fuck the World mention Van Eyck too?
Czy to jakiś konik czach?
A skull thing? Man, you sound like 100 years old when you say that.
No, you don't. She's mistaken you for an old person. Say you're cool.
Nieźle napieram.
I don't know what that means.
Cisnął.
I don't know what that means either.
Ja też nie mam twardy dowód, że jestem czadowy. Są nimi zniszczony magnetofon szpulowy i kompletnie zdemolowany pokój w hostelu.
That's cool.
Masz rację, czas mnie opuścił.
Sucks, man. Was there something else? About the contact mic, perhaps?
Właściwie to mam kilka niezwiązanych z mikrofonem pytań.
Okay.
Co tu robisz w taki ziąb?
Recording, I guess.
Co właściwie nagrywasz?
I think I'm recording cracks in the ice, but there's no way to tell. Not without headphones. I think I just recorded your footsteps too. Not sure how that'll sound.
Chwila, coś ustał ze słuchawkami.
My boyfriend sold them.
Po co?
I don't know, man. Things. Just stuff you need for life.
Everything checks out, sire.
I do czego ci te nagrania, te trzaski i kroki?
The musicians in the Palaceum used them for making music. They looped the stuff, cutting the tapes together. They make music out of cracks in the ice and keys jangling. Crazy sounds like that. It's hard to explain.
Skin tylko głową.
Anyway, I thought I'd make some too. It's supposed to be like a music place anyway. I don't really know what I'm doing. They use synthesizers too. I don't have a synthesizer.
She looks at the recording device, the thing she thought would fill her hours with joy and escape. It's turning out to be an empty fantasy. She feels...
Take this, you're cold.
No, man, fuck that, I'm cool. I'm sorry I said that. I'm sorry about the fuck.
It's okay.
Daj jej swoje nakrycie głowy. Masz, potrzebujesz tego bardziej niż ja.
Thanks.
Straciłem kapelusz Dicka Mulena. Myślałem, że będę mógł wybrać może. Powiedziałaś, że to ma być miejsce pełne muzyki. Miałaś na myśli kościół i to, co planuje z nim zrobić Andre?
Yeah, the boys think it could be a place, like the Palaceum or something. Stupid. It's really not gonna be a Palaceum, that's for sure.
Chłopaki?
Yeah, Andre and the guys, inside the tent.
And why is that?
Czemu tu marzniesz, skoro chłopaki siedzą w środku?
They got too much stuff crammed in there. No room.
Co to za rzeczy?
Didn't you see it yourself? It's mostly music stuff, like this tape recorder, but bigger.
Czemu nie zostawicie czegoś na zewnątrz, żebyś nie musiało tu marznąć na kość?
That stuff is more expensive than I am. More expensive than any of us, really. Doesn't matter. I can take the cold.
Mam jeszcze inne pytania.
Go ahead.
Opowiedz mi więcej o tym lokalu muzycznym, który chcecie otworzyć w kościele.
It's supposed to become like a club for anodic dance music, like that new style of synthesizer stuff they play at the Palaceum. Except that, yeah.
The floorboards are twisting, and the shooting beams are slowly cracking, like bones. Far east of the Golden Delta, beyond the industrial port, there is a black patch of unlit coast with the smallest creatures on the ice. There will never be a club for anodic music here. Not in a million years.
Czym jest muzyka Anodic Dance?
You know, anodic, cathodic, music that's made with electronic instruments.
Elektroniczne instrumenty na przykład?
Synthesizers and tape consoles. Microcomputers too. Anything that uses electricity, but isn't guitars. Also found sounds, stuff like that.
You see clear, beautiful, violent flashes of light. Light cutting through a smoke-filled darkness. That is what the future will look like. If it ever comes.
Muzyka Anodic? W końcu dowiem się, co to jest. No co to jest?
You know, anodic, cathodic, music that's made with electronic instruments.
Rozumiem, co do tego kościoła.
What do you need to know?
Dość już o tym kościele, mam inne pytania.
Go ahead.
72%, na razie wszystko.
Okay.
Czy mogę jakoś zboostować empatię? Albo chociaż usunąć minusy do empatii? Wątpię, ale to jest +1. Niestety straciłem kapelusz. Lubiłem go. Naprawdę go lubiłem. Spróbujmy. 72. Rejestrator taśmy leży na lodzie niczym porzucona zabawka. Podnieś ją.
The device is still warm from her touch and heavy as a brick from the batteries inside. The company logo, Omicron, adorns its yellow plastic cover. Inside, the tape is rolling. The girl looks at the device in your hands.
Przykro mi, że musisz siedzieć tutaj na lodzie i czuć się paskudnie. W twoim wieku, w każdym właściwie. Jeszcze w tej pogodzie, czekając aż zrobił się ciemno.
She looks you in the eye, her pupils wide, surrounded by a ridiculous amount of makeup.
Ludzie, którzy stworzyli ten świat, chcieli, żeby był on lepszy dla ciebie, lecz zawiedli. Łatwiej żyć z ich porażką, kiedy masz obok to.
The wind howls. She remains silent. It's real. Tell her.
To nie jest dziecinna fantazja. Może być prawdziwą bronią przeciw temu, co tu właśnie nadciąga.
What is?
Nic, jeśli weźmiesz się w garść, nie bój się.
Okay, I'll stick to it.
Something changes between you two. She looks at you differently now. As an equal. A fellow human being.
So thanks, I guess, for the psych session. Maybe I can return it. What's been eating you, officer?
Pytasz, czy coś mnie gryzie? Nic mnie nie gryzie.
Come on, I can tell. But okay. Be a boyadero about it if you want to.
Bo wiesz, jest coś, co zmieni moje życie w piekło.
What is it?
Ludzie wciąż wyżej stawiają swoje własne interesy nad wyższym dobrem.
Oh, really?
Tak, nikt nie rozumie, że czasem trzeba poświęcić się dla postępu. To wszystko strasznie mnie niepokoi.
So, the thing that's been eating you is the slow pace of social progress?
Nie zrozum mnie źle, nie mam nic przeciwko powolnemu i stałemu rozwojowi. Chciałbym po prostu, żeby ludzie byli nieco bardziej rozsądni.
Okay, so you're not that upset,
Mówił
it
ci,
sounds like.
jestem bardzo zaniepokojony tym stanem rzeczy.
Uh-huh. And you're sure it's social progress you're distressed about, and not, I don't know, some chick?
Perhaps.
Zabawne, że tym wspominasz, bo znalazłem w śmietniku trochę listów, które mogą mieć z tym coś wspólnego.
Okay. Why do you think that?
Przede wszystkim pachną delikatnie gumą do rzucia, wyczułem ją mimo smrodu gówna.
Wow, man. That's pretty symbolic. Don't you think?
Tak, mnie też wydało się to bardzo symboliczne.
Okay. What else?
Zostało napisane kobiecą ręką i w mordę. Czytanie ich nie wprawiło mnie w dobry nastrój.
There you have it then, chick trouble. Not political after all. Who was she?
Nie pamiętam.
Really? You seem to be pretty upset about this chica. Are you sure you don't remember anything about her?
Pamiętam jej zapach, to wszystko.
Wow, man. That's some pretty strange shit. Are you sure the letters were for you?
Tak, jestem pewien. Czemu miałbym w innym razie tak gwałtownie na nie zareagować?
How come you don't remember though? Is it like some selective memory thing?
Prędzej chyba schlałem się tak potężnie, że wymazałem ze swojej głowy wszystkie wspomnienia o tym świecie.
Yeah, or it might be that. This one time I did so much booze that I forgot too.
It's obvious she's done more than booze.
Or it might just be some psych bullshit, you know? Königstein wank.
Bzdety z Königsteinu? Co to?
You know, the psych thing they've got going on there. Rich people like it. People in Königstein are mostly rich.
No, to dzięki za psychologiczne bzdury.
You're welcome. Might be for the best to keep that shit forgotten though. Just my opinion. If it itches, don't scratch.
Yes, but it itches really, really bad.
To właściwie na razie wszystko. Dobra, zanim wejdę do kościoła, zrobię jakieś sidequesty. Mam tego sporo znowu. Sprawdzić pułapki. Pomogło otworzyć klub. Popytać o Ruby. Jeszcze muszę się cofnąć do tego budynku. Co tam nieziemski? Swoją drogą, czy oddali ci od razu hajs, czy musisz czekać teraz? Tak się jeszcze zastanawiam. Czy to jest ta pułapka? Szczelina w betonie, ściek.
The light vanishes inside the concrete slit. The structure goes deep under the earth.
Czekasz na hajs jeszcze? Aha. A to przynajmniej magazyny Amazona się uzupełnią. Co tam jest?
Maybe it's just a storm drain for the sewer.
Kim, wiesz może co tam jest?
No idea. Could be connected to one of the buildings around here.
Myślisz, że możemy znaleźć tam Ruby?
We might find her down somewhere. There's an old storm drain system beneath Martinez that's mostly collapsed. Reversal sewage system has been built and rebuilt 4 or 5 times now. In conclusion, she could be under any building.
Ale nie tam?
I hope not.
Krzyknij do szczeliny. Halo.
There's no echo.
Zakończ myśl. Ech, dobra. Czyli to nie to. Co to było? To był ten telefon. Tutaj już byłem. Miałem pójść na molo. To naokoło w sumie. Dużo biegamy.
The smell. It's awful and familiar.
Co to?
Don't you recognize it? That hideous pungency. That faintly cloying sweetness. Only death smells like that. Something cold wakes in the pit
Tam
of your
leży trup,
stomach.
tak?
Fear.
Uwaga, poruczniku, coś tu jest nie tak.
The lieutenant has already brought a handkerchief to his nose.
To jest pewnie mąż tej kobiety, która czytała książkę.
There's some tear, an empty cigarette package, and a crumpled kebab wrapper
O Boże,
in the
zjadłem
trash
kaksa.
bin.
Przyjrzyj się opakowaniom.
2 empty bottles of Tallulah vodka and a can of black potent porter. There's more in there. Livis strawberry liquor, plus some Pilsner bottles too. Better not pick them up. They seem unhygienic.
A tragedy.
He shakes his head with genuine sadness.
Przyjrzyj się paczce po papierosach.
Whoever tossed it here was a heavy smoker. The brand name reads Red Astra.
Przyjrzyj się papierkowi po kebabie.
You see traces of mayonnaise and ketchup on it, as well as a tomato wedge. The wrapper reads Shish Kebab Revachol. It's no older than a day or two. No mold yet. It's hard to concentrate in the smell. The sea air brings some relief.
Dobra, odejdź. Rozumiem, że to jest trup. No, chciałem jego kliknąć.
A man lies on the boardwalk, his limbs bent and neck turned at an unnatural angle. Right next to him is an empty bottle of spirits. In his cramped hand, a chewing gum wrapper. Half of his body has slipped between the cracked boardwalk, starting with the right leg. The fall has left him broken, contorted like a sad puppet.
Czyli schlał się, zapadł się i zamarzł po pijaku.
The smell is Not as bad as a 2-week-old corpse, but it's definitely heading there.
Hold on. Lividity is faintly pronounced. Whoever this is has been dead for 2 days. No longer. We need to investigate.
Another dead body. This is your job. Steel yourself. Calm now. Carefully. Just another day. Just another dead body. Breathe.
Przyjrzyj się ubraniu mężczyzny.
He's wearing mud-caked boots, beige trousers, and an old brown leather jacket with a bright blue lining. There are traces of kebab sauce on his chest. A cool leather jacket with a bolt of blue? Oh no. This sounds terribly familiar.
Przeszukaj mu kieszenie.
You find some sunflower seeds and a rain-soaked library card folded into two. His jacket feels sodden and heavy under your hand.
Good. We should take a look at that library card after this is done.
Przyjrzyj się mężczyźnie.
The man has fallen through a crack in the boardwalk and hit his head against the metal bench. Coagulated blood covers his black hair. One of his feet is still dangling through the hole. You have to be quite inebriated to fall that bad. Well over a liter of pure ethanol. 3 bottles of wine or 1.5 of spirits.
Ale musiał być najebany. Przyjrzyj się jego twarzy.
His expression is dull, like the sea behind him. Drops of water shining on his mustache. His eyes, empty and wide, look frightening in their frozen gaze. Height, 170 to 175 centimeters. Curly hair, stout build. Age, approximately 50 to 60 years. He was confused when he died. Confused and alone, most likely. Overcome with the awful surprise of it all. He was just about to head home. The first step back home proved to be his last.
Przyjrzyj się otoczeniu.
There's some dried blood on the metal bench, right where the corpse's head rests. The floorboards are rotten and slippery wet around the hole. An empty bottle lies nearby. A chewing gum wrapper is clutched in his fist.
Przyjrzyj się głowie mężczyzny.
A dried chunk of blood covers the hair at the back of his head. An open wound. It's sticky and cold to your touch.
Czyli nie to, że utknął i zamarzł. Zapadł mu się nogę, upadając, rozbił sobie głowę. Oczywiście po pijaku. I nie wstał.
This is where he came out of himself, drop by drop, when he was unconscious. It took 3, maybe 4 minutes.
I don't see any other major wounds, do you?
Trudno stwierdzić.
Seems like the head wound was fatal. It's exactly the shape of the bench.
Naciśnij stopą na deski promenady.
They screech under your feet ominously. It's hard to say whether the dead man's weight was the cause of the boardwalk to break. It definitely looks fragile. You see waves churning below. Something cracks beneath your feet. He could have easily disappeared into the sea through that hole, and you would have never found him.
Przyjrzyj się butelce.
A .75 liter Tallulah vodka with its cap missing. There's hardly anything left inside. It's mid-market spirits with a slight touch of menthol. The man meant to enjoy himself, have a good time.
Tear all around us.
Przyjrzyj się papierkowi po gumie do rzucia.
Rybowski spearmint chewing gum. Green leaves on the cover. The man's mouth is half agape from the terror of the fall.
Zajrzyj do środka.
The blackness of death. Stench. You think you see white chewing gum too. Confirmed. Nearly the whole pack is there. Solidified on his lower rear teeth.
He ate the whole pack, right? It's to cover the smell of alcohol before going home. The worst thing is, I've seen it before. Almost the same scenario. Even the chewing gum. It's always the same.
Więc to jest mąż tej kobiety z pod księgarni. Najebał się. Chciał wrócić. Nażarł się gumy, bo myślał, że nie wyczuje. Spoiler, zawsze czuć. I się zapadł i zabił.
In a ditch, off a road below the 881, he thinks. A young father. Then he shakes his head to make the memory stop.
Cofnij się.
The entire boardwalk creaks in the wind as you take a step back.
Co to za człowiek?
Looks like one of the locals. He'd have to know this spot to come here. You don't just walk over here. But that's just a lazy assumption. What do you think?
A dead working-class man with a bottle in his hand? Don't deceive yourself. You know who this is.
Wiemy, kto to jest. Zaginiony mąż kobiety z klasy robotniczej. Leży martwy na promenadzie.
The woman you met at the book stand? Why do you think it's her husband?
Wskaż ubrań mężczyzny, to ta skórzana kurtka. Idealnie pasuje do opisu, jaki podała.
The bright blue lining? Well, he's definitely someone's husband.
Jak myślisz, co się tu stało?
Death by misadventure. He slipped and fell through the boardwalk. A truly unfortunate accident. If it wouldn't have been for that bench, he'd be alive.
Czy to może mieć związek z Lynchem Ruby?
No, I don't see anything that points in that direction.
Lynchem
For
albo
now,
Ruby.
let's treat this case as a simple, albeit sad, accident.
Nie
Unrelated
no,
to the
pijacka
murder case.
śmierć raczej.
Yes, but what if there's a killer on the loose? 2 suspicious deaths in such a short time frame.
Masz rację, łączenie tego z Lynchem jest mocno naciągane.
Without any further evidence, yes.
Myślisz, że był pijany?
Oh yes.
A może to kwestia zdrowia alkoholowego i niewydolności wątroby?
Some symptoms of acute alcohol poisoning could have definitely played a role here. Severe confusion, respiratory depression, unpredictable behavior. But I think that death arrived through head trauma, not liver failure.
Co z tym kebabem?
What about it? The deceased ate some kebab. It's probably from a nearby place, maybe in the parks.
No tak.
It does seem to be a pretty straightforward misadventure, although there's still a question of identifying the body.
Co z nim zrobimy?
From where I stand, I can see 2 options. We either take the case and follow the leads to identify the body on our own, or we report back to the station and leave this for our colleagues to handle.
My go znaleźliśmy, więc i my to powinniśmy zamknąć.
Alright, we should first examine the library card you found. Then we can call the station from my kinema. Let them know we are taking the case.
Zobaczmy tą kartę. W ogóle zobaczmy nasz dziennik. Tak, zniknął quest o znalezieniu męża. Zacznijmy od karty. Pominam tę
The
notatkę.
note is written with a blue pencil on a
Does it say anything interesting?
This is tangential at best, but the lieutenant's detective instinct is still active.
Przeczytaj notatkę.
Someone has scribbled, S. I can't believe the off-site copy is still here. The illiterate ginger kid keeps stealing stuff from the studio, so I had to hide it somewhere safe. You'll find the filament memory with the off-site copy in the frozen ice cream maker. Please take it home, ASAP. It's important. I'd do it myself if I lived in a civilized place with a freezer. Take care, Suliswaf.
Ciekawe, kto napisał tą notatkę.
Looks like someone from that radio game company upstairs. I'm a little surprised they just left their property lying here.
Może to ze względu na tą istotę.
That's implausible.
Kto jest niepśmiennym, rudym dzieciakiem? Pewnie Kuna.
Really? You don't have a single guess?
Masz na myśli Kuna?
Oh, I'm sure that child would love to get his hands on the filament memory. Even if he doesn't know what to do with it, he'd probably try to pawn it for speed, based on our encounter.
Przypomnij mi, co to jest pamięć włosowata?
It belongs inside a radio computer, storing its memory. It's like a tape. You listen to disco tapes, right? It's like one of your disco tapes, only for a computer.
Wiesz, gdzie może być ta zamrożona maszyna do lodów?
I don't know. I assume it's somewhere close to the iceberg fridge.
Powinienem się tam wrócić.
Didn't you see one right next to the breaker box?
Schowaj notatkę. Karty biblioteczne,
The
interakcje.
library card is folded into 2. and still slightly wet to the touch. The front side reads, Central Jamrock Public Library card, issued to Billy Mejean, expires July 53.
Spójrz na tył.
If lost, please return the card to the library. Dial 005 02 55211 or visit us at Moreau Street, 78, Jamrock. Business hours 900 to 1800.
Good. We should give them a call from my kinema. See if we can learn anything about Billy Mejean.
Zajrzyj do środka.
Whoever owns this card is an avid reader. You find a list of books written in blue pencil. Radio thriller. Stand a little less between me and the sun. The last one in the list is The Glinton Curve by M. Theobald. A library stamp indicates that the book has been returned. Most of these titles seem to be in the sci-fi genre. Some thrillers too.
Schowaj ją. A więc tak. Pytanie, co z trupem? Skoro on tu leży.
A man lies on the board.
Nie mogę go na razie schować. Powinienem się wrócić do miasta, ale zanim tam pójdę, jeszcze poeksploruję tutaj. Ogólnie jest to bardzo duże miejsce. Tutaj chyba stała jakaś...
The remaining windows rattle from a strong gust of wind. They're covered in a thick layer of grime. They must have been like this for 40 years.
Spróbuj zajrzeć do środka.
Dripping water falls from a high place. All you can see is the shadow of a collapsing staircase. There's rust and corrosion on the bars. They're foaming with it. And a small layer of white salt from the sea.
Poruczniku, widzisz może, co jest w środku?
No. I won't even try. You know, I had a partner once. They called him Eyes, because he had to show me things. It's that bad.
This partner of his, Eyes, things didn't end well. It saddens him to say his name. Don't even ask. He wouldn't answer. Maybe some other small talk.
Ale strzelać możesz, prawda?
Well enough, actually. It's odd how that works. I'm no sharpshooter, but I passed my shooting courses 7 out of 10.
Dobra, najpierw podnieśmy to, co tutaj leży. Całkiem sporo hajsu. I nosafed. Chyba każdy w Rewaszolu jest uzależniony od nosafedu.
You see a once bright mural towering above you. The signage has peeled off over the years, but you can still make out Feld Electrical R&D. A slogan used to intertwine with the loops a long time ago. Now only a shadow of peeled letters remains. It says, tomorrow is just a whisper away.
Jutro jest zaledwie oszept od ciebie.
Looks like tomorrow never came.
Podejdźcie krok.
Above the mural, a collapsed roof, broken windows set in walls that are cracking and will soon also fall, and the coastal breeze rustling and sighing in the remains of the edifice. There's something in the wind. Sometimes the only way to go forward is to fail first.
Czemu mam wrażenie, że znam to miejsce?
Indeed, somehow you knew it was here, an urban ruin gutted by looters that once used to consume money and dispense warmth and light. You felt it before, when it rained in Martinez, and you felt the cold of the rain. The feeling persists. It has been in you ever since.
Co to za budynek?
Maybe we could, you know, ask the man who's pointing at the building.
Czy Ruby może tam być?
In there? She could. Or she could be in the identical room over there. Or in that boat shack. In that church tower, maybe.
Dreszcze niemożliwe. Posłuchaj wiatru.
Suddenly, all is quiet. There is no cold hand brushing against your forehead. No rustle in the reeds. The wind has died down or gone behind a corner. You only hear distant waves washing the coast. The ruin in front of you is silent as a tomb.
Co ja w ogóle próbowałem tu zrobić?
Trying to talk to the wind, the city, whatever you thought would happen, did not. And now you're just standing there with your hands fallen to your side. A prayer of sorts to Revachol.
Odwróć się do porucznika. Może być wszędzie, jak ją znajdziemy.
How do we? I was really hoping she'd be in the village. Okay. She's probably north of the village, and this place is a peninsula. We've already talked to the cryptozoologists. Working with them might give us a good excuse to run around, give us some structure. And then there's the church. If I were a murder suspect, I would not hide in the most prominent building here, but who knows? Maybe she's reckless. Anyway, we do it the old-fashioned way, sector by sector. Go over the whole peninsula, ask the locals, enter the places where we can enter first, like we did in the village.
Jak to się zmieniło? W sumie to zniknęło. A jeśli to się nie uda? Jeśli nie znajdziemy?
Then, if we're desperate, we can look where we can't enter. Bunkers, storm drainage, this place. I'm sure it won't come to that.
Porozmawiaj z wiatrem, jeśli nie wiesz, co zrobić.
Walk the coast, the old boardwalk, the reeds. You can always come back here and talk to the wind again. Look where it already got you. Buckle up and raise your collar. This search is going to be wet and cold.
Dobra, zapytajmy kolesia, co to za budynek.
And Mikhail noticed the windows, especially with how there are no windows on the south side. This was to deal with. You officers, come to investigate the historic subtext of West Martinez? I'm Khan Hailostam. You must be Kim Kitsuragi, right? I was just telling my son about this building. Not a lot of people realize the historic significance here. Very rich in hypertext.
Nice to meet you.
Zaraz, co pan mówił wcześniej o oknach?
Oh yes, so Mikhail. They had to deal with monitor glare, especially in the summer. They still had vector monitors back then. That was 49 years ago. So they didn't have windows on the south wall.
Sekunda, hypertekst.
Yes, hypertext. Young Carp and the collection of cultural hyperlinks.
He's just making up fancy words. This doesn't mean anything.
Pan się zna z Kimem?
No, I can't say that we've met before, but I've heard of Kim, of course. Mikhail, say hi to the officers. Mikhail's a little tired today. We spent all night trying to run Orbis on his radio computer. Have you heard of it? It's a programming language used in Grad. Quite tricky, but he wanted to play this Grad-made adventure program. We've been getting really into worms lately. But I assume you're not here for giant worms when there are so many real things to see. Just as I was telling Mikhail before, this is where the Coalition landed in 08. We could be standing on what is the most interesting landmark in Revachol West.
This man is your half-brother. You feel it. But why?
Szukam podejrzanej. Widział pan w okolicy kogoś budzącego obawy?
No, I'm afraid I can't help you with this one, officer. It's just a regular day off for me and Mikhail here.
So you haven't seen anyone around?
No, I'm sorry. As I said, this is just a day off. We just arrived anyway.
There's something friendly and familiar in how he says that. A day off.
Co jest takiego fascynującego w starym, pustym budynku?
Aha! But it's not just any empty old building. What not a lot of people know is this used to be the R&D department of Felt Electrical. And Felt, which now sells ink cartridges mostly, was once a top dog in the turn-of-the-century cybernetics boom.
Hold on. What's R&D?
Chwilkę, co to jest dział badań i rozwoju?
Apologies, it's an acronym for research and development. They don't use it anymore. You're probably more familiar with RTD, Research and Technological Development.
Spójrz na górujący nad wami budynek.
It looks old and weathered. with seagulls picking apart its stone and metal carcass. Bushy undergrowth has taken hold of the collapsed rooftop. Some kind of bird has set up a nest on a broken windowsill.
Nie wydaje mi się, żebym słyszał kiedykolwiek o Felt Electrical.
That's not surprising. Only a vestigial ink cartridge and ferrotape manufacturer remains. They started out as a midway electronics outfit in Königstein 2 centuries ago. After an aggressive move to Revachol, Feld became a global player in the emerging personal electronics market of the pre-revolutionary era. Still, Tricentennial was beating them in business machines. But Feld had an ace up their sleeve, or should I say they were developing an ace up their sleeve. I'm mixing my metaphors here.
I czym był ten as?
It was here in Martinez, possibly in this very building, that they developed prototypes for a tape computer.
Komputera taśmowego?
An elegant folding mechanism of rollers and ferrotape ribbons, portable enough to be a take-it-home solution. Revolutionizing business machines, possibly even bring them to the average consumer, which is a feat of engineering even today's giants, Rehm, ICN and ZAM, haven't achieved yet.
Co się stało?
Indeed. What?
The revolution!
Unfortunately, their moonshot project never made it to the market. Feld's move to Revachol backfired. The revolutionary government liquefied their assets and expropriated those very advanced prototypes, possibly from this very building, or one of the adjacent ruins. All of this was built by Feld, even the boardwalk. Wild Pines built Martinez proper as a resort for their middle management. Feld built this side of town for R&D.
Twierdzi pan, że to Felt Electrical zbudowało tu promenadę?
Yes, they even built a pleasure wheel, but that got destroyed in the war.
A pleasure wheel?
Perhaps reminded of a childhood memory. It's clear he would prefer there were a big wheel lighting up the coast.
Yes, to lure in their star engineers. This part of Martinez was nothing but reeds before Feld arrived. They had to make the prospect of living here attractive. It was supposed to become a global center for innovation in cybernetics. But history had other plans.
Co się stało z inżynierami, z pracownikami firmy?
Oh, I'm afraid it didn't end well for the boys. But this story is a bit too dark for little Mikhail here. Now, if you were to ask about tape computers...
Co rewolucjoniści zrobili z tymi zaawansowanymi komputerami taśmowymi?
They used them for military communications, but also to write and send out press releases. The most notorious example being Le Décret de Mars.
A co to było?
What's the Mars Decree? I mean the radio transmission sent out to news agencies and world governments by the newly created commune of Revachol on the 7th of March in the year 02. It's a beautiful piece of text, actually. A singer-songwriter I know, Charette, called it a love poem to Revachol on her political concept album, Bombessier dans le Lind. You should read it. Every local library in Revachol stocks a copy of the decree. I tried to get Mikhail to memorize it. Tried to. Someone was much too interested in worms to be paying any attention.
The kid takes a peek at the green and silver worm on the cover of the book, already forgetting about this part of the discussion.
Jak działały te komputery taśmowe, takie jak radiokomputery?
Actually, no one knows. No one even knows what a computer made entirely of tape would look like. But word has it, they were very elegant, exquisite, alien-looking turn-of-the-century hardware. 10 years ago, I did a little freelancing, I guess you could say. I was a special consultant for an exhibition at the Wompty Dumpty Dum Center in Vredefort, Oranje. It raised the same questions, and we had lengthy discussions with Paul Ockerman, who was head curator at the time. This was before the twins Keith and Guy Jews joined the team, trying to...
Wait, did he just say Wumpty Dumpty Dom Center? He did it. He said Wumpty Dumpty Dom Center, like it's the most natural thing in the world. This is all ninsy-pinsy garbage for sissy people.
No dobrze, Centrum Wumpty Dumpty Dom, Paul Ockerman, Keith i Guy Jost. O czym pan mówi?
The Wumpty Dumpty Dum Center for Contemporary Arts. The exhibition itself drew on Lagerman's notion of memory, and so there were some parallels. That's why the head curator, Paul Ockerman, chose to...
Zmyśla pan to wszystko. Odwrócił do porucznika. Kim? Czy on to zmyśla?
In fact, I'm not. The Wompty Dumpty Dum Center is a place you can visit if you're ever in Vredefort and are ever in the market for an exhibition space/contemporary art research center. But perhaps I should return to the tape computers. As I was saying, the device itself was very elegant, fragile even. One could write directly on the tape using a special chemical solution. The machine would then analyze the handwriting, perform operations, and project output onto a white screen. It was a beautiful, delicate thing.
Kiwnij głową czadowo.
Very, very cool. Though I understand the socio-economic causes of the revolution, it pains me to imagine the revolutionary setting fire to this precious device. But
Zaraz.
so they did. The felt playback experiment vanished into the fires of 07.
Zaraz, eksperyment odtwarzania Felda.
Yes, the official name of the prototype. Some sources report it as the felt playback experience, but those are incorrect.
Czemu rewolucjoniści go zniszczyli?
Who knows? Maybe it was an accident, or maybe they didn't want the technology to end up in the wrong hands. Either way, they're all gone now. All 3 versions of the prototype. Nothing but debris and ashes remain inside that building.
Chciałem spytać o coś innego.
But of course, what else?
Nie będziemy go pytać o pieniądze. Wspaniale, dziękuję za te interesujące informacje.
No, thanks to you for having me and little Michaela here to pick your brain. A very interesting conversation indeed.
Czyli ludzie rozstrzelani przy tamtej ścianie, gdzieś tam, to tak naprawdę inżynierowie. Przejebane. To jest budynek Felda. Gdzie są pułapki? Pułapki. Północny wschód od budynku Felda. Tędy nie przejdę. Nie powiem, ciekawy motyw. Tutaj nie pójdę, okej. Czy to jest wioska rybacka, czy to jest jakaś luźno porzucona chata? Tu już jest wioska, okej. Czyli to nie jest aż tak daleko, jak się wydawało. Po prostu sprawia wrażenie, że jest daleko. Powinienem cofnąć się do miasta. Zadzwonić w sprawie trupa. To jest pułapka, tak? Nie, to po prostu kamień.
An old door, worn by elements, guards the depot. The wind has blown a sand dune in front of it. The door hasn't been opened in a long while. You see
20.
a handle.
Naprawdę? Co to w ogóle jest?
It's military. A service depot of some sort.
Służący do serwisowania czego?
The washerwoman mentioned a depot up the coast. She said it was for moving ammo and cargo across the bay. This might be it.
Twoje zdrowie nieziemski. Dobra, 3%, nie mogę tego powtórzyć. Czy w ogóle, chwilę, moment, jak zdejmie coś miałem na zręczne palce. Tak, żółte rękawice, ile mi to da? Nieważne jak bardzo zbustuję zręczne palce, i tak mam 3%.
You rattle the handle of
Wiedziałem.
it, then push on the door with all your weight. It does not budge. Not only is it locked, it's also jammed shut.
Drzwi są zamknięte na głucho. Jak możemy się tam dostać?
We don't get in there.
O czym ty mówisz? Wchodzimy, no gdzie chcemy.
Frankly, you're just going to have to accept the fact that you can't get in through every single door.
No. We've gotten into every door thus far. That's what we do. We open doors. We're cops. That's our perk. Even Everard knew that's a part of our MO.
Ale od tego jestem, obaj od tego jesteśmy.
Yeah, I understand you. I like opening doors as much as the next guy. But this one is simply beyond repair and we don't have the resources needed to open it. Relax. No one's hiding in there. If we can't open it, others can't either. And thus they can't get in.
Dobra, odejdźmy. Zmieńmy rękawice z powrotem. Tak, nieziemski. Jestem tego samego zdania. Ktoś tu był. Przekaźnik radiowy. Wonny szalik. Nie, ogólnie XCOM to jednak sklep, którego... O, pierwsza pułapka, nice.
There's a trap in the reeds at your feet. Looks like the same one you saw Morel set before. Same mesh, same wiring.
Rozejrzyj się.
The reeds shake sadly in the coastal breeze. Snow specks the stalks. Most of it melts quickly. The reeds seem to be waiting for something. The wind picks up here, near the cape's end, surrounding the narrow strip of land from 3 cardinal directions. It's cold for this time of year.
Sięgnij ku pułapce.
Locusts are crawling around in the trap, confused but uneaten. You see no carnivorous reed phasmid gorging on them.
Big surprise. Anyway, 1 down, 3 to go.
Miałem nadzieję, że będzie w pierwszej.
No, you weren't.
Dobra. Czy to faktycznie pierwsza? Tak. W obozie kryptozoologów, przy shopach. Na zachód od budynku, przy kanale. Czyli wracamy. Znaczy wiesz, nieziemski. Ogólnie z tego co kojarzę, był swojego czasu, nie wiem czy konkurs, czy promocja, że jak się napisało komentarz, to się dostawało zniżkę. Więc część komentarzy może być pisana tak trochę na siłę. Pułapkę przy obozie kryptozoologów miałem sprawdzić jako ostatnią, tak? Jedna pułapka miała być przy shopach, czyli gdzieś tu. Tylko podejrzewam, że od wybrzeża. Ogólnie to ostatnio doszedłem do wniosku, że żeby kupić cokolwiek, trzeba teraz zrobić tak pojebaną ilość researchu, zarówno produktowego, jak i jeśli chodzi o sprzedawcę, że odechciewa się człowiekowi.
This is it, the scene of the party. The fire pit. Cigarettes and empty bottles all evidence it.
Zaraz, nie masz na myśli miejsce zbrodni?
Not as such. I'm talking about what came after the party scene.
Tak ewidentnie wyglądało, jakby bawiło się tu sporo ludzi.
Looks like they were here a while, judging from all the bottles. The sunken motor carriage provided them a focal point, like a goose ice sculpture or a chocolate fountain.
Hej, Kim, wygląda na to, że mieliśmy tu kilku imprezowiczów.
Looks like it.
To było dla nich jak teatrzyk, cyrkowy spektakl jakiegoś klauna.
Hey, let's keep moving, detective.
Somehow, he doesn't want to dwell on it.
The fuck? Ale mi kamera przeskoczyła. To jest kolejna pułapka.
A familiar apparatus lies among the reeds.
Rozejrzyj się.
Another one of Morel's trap. The reeds bend forlornly toward the sand. You see slabs of concrete north. In the east, the city center hums to you. The constant, distant song, louder on this part of the coast, nearer somehow. And there's that cold again.
Sięgnij ku
Always the
pułapce.
cold. This trap is also full of panicked locusts. No sign of any cryptozoological beast inside.
Another empty trap.
Nie odpuszczaj, następna będzie ta szczęśliwa.
Yep.
Dobra, tylko która to była? A jednak nie. To jednak była ta przy śluzie. Miałem tu też jakąś myśl przez chwilę, ale zniknęła. Umknęła mi ta myśl. Czy to są szopy na łodzie? Chyba nie. Chociaż muszę biegać z podświetleniem cały czas. Dobre pytanie, gdzie jest ta pułapka? Skoro to są szopy. Ale raczej nie. Gdzie on miał być? Na zachód od budynku Felda, czyli gdzieś tu. To jest budynek Felda. To był obóz. To miałem sprawdzić ostatnią. Chyba, że to są szopy na łodzie, tak.
This trap's not too hard to spot, once you know what to look for. Keeping it hidden has not been a problem
Rozejrzyj
for
się.
the cryptos. Behind you, the ruins of a residential building rise over the reeds, shielding them from the wind. The reeds rustle confidently. When this district was booming, the reeds were kept at bay. Nothing obscured the freshly painted facades. Nowhere for drunks and adventurous teenagers to hide. Now only the wind blows.
Sięgnij ku pułapce.
Nothing but locusts in this trap as well. Definitely no cryptozoological monstrosity.
Empty as all of them. One more of these and we're done.
Szkoda, że go tu nie było.
I'm just glad we haven't found some poor cat trapped in one of these.
Autosave? Dziwne. Dobra, ostatnia pułapka. I wracamy do miasta. Musimy zgłosić nie morderstwo, śmierć.
This is the last of the traps. The one Morel just set. Checking it over, he said, is just a technicality.
Rozejrzyj się.
The reeds by the abandoned campsite hiss and shake. The later it gets, the colder. Remnants of the camp can still be seen in the sand. The fire that's gone out. You feel strange. Somehow.
Sięgnij ku pułapce.
The trap feels light and silent as you pick it up. Something is different here.
Przyjrzyj się dokładniej.
No locust. No phasmid either, but still.
Przyjrzyj się uważniej.
Well, the bait worked on something. This doesn't mean it was a reed monster, though. Unless you see one in there, I just see an empty trap.
The netting is a little untidy, messier than the others. Like someone or something picked the trap up and shook it before dropping it back down on the ground.
Prawdę mówiąc, mam przeczucie, że ktoś lub coś grzebał przy tej pułapce.
Perhaps our cryptozoologists have competition in the form of an actual entomologist, or someone else is sabotaging them. I could present more theories, but then I would be taking this on as a case, which I'm not.
A co jeśli to był straszyk? Co jeśli je zjadł i się wydostał?
Right. Anyway, that's for the cryptozoologists to figure out now. We are not cryptozoologists. We are cops.
A cold gust of air dries your sweaty face, and you look to the dark shadow, the Feld building in the distance, drawing you to it. What a strange sensation. Once this is done, should you try to ask again?
Czyli przy budynku Felda coś jest. Dobra. Sprawdziłem pułapki. Wróćmy do Morela. Wróćmy też do kobiety z promenady. I powiedz mi, że jej mąż nie żyje. Chociaż najpierw to chyba zgłosić trzeba. Jak działa fast travel w tej grze? Z którego miejsca mogą się przenieść, a z którego nie? Tu na przykład już mogą. Dobra, jesteśmy przy samochodzie Kima. Ale dajcie mi dosłownie minutę. Skoczę tylko do kibla.
A radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox, and the soft glow of the fuel preheater gauge.
Dobra. Weź ponownie radio.
This is Precinct 57. How may I assist you?
Połącz mnie z biblioteką publiczną w Jamrock.
Hold on, officer. I've got Central Jamrock Public Library on the line, and I've already introduced you to their librarian. Connecting the call in 2, 1.
Yes, this is Central Jamrock Public Library here. How can I help you, officer?
He sounds worried, yet ready to assist. This is how people get when the police call.
Szukam wszelkich informacji, jakie może pan udostępnić na temat osoby imieniem Billy Mejean, czytelnika.
Billy Mejean, you said. Give me a moment, I'll have to check our database.
Boże, jak starym modem.
On Moreau Drive in central Jamrock, in a darkened hall lit by orange desk lamps far away from the noise outside, a middle-aged man taps commands into an old radio computer. A printout falls on the desk. Behind him, a lonely reader scours some dusty bookshelves, looking for a paperback.
Yes, hello, are you still there? I found Billy Mejean's home address, is that alright? No phone number, unfortunately.
Tak, adres domowy się przyda.
Here we go, sir. Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 33B, apartment number 20. It's in Martinez, I believe. Capeside Apartments, it says. That's all.
That's where the smoker on the balcony lives, isn't it?
Ma pan jakiekolwiek inne informacje, kim jest Billy Mejean?
It says here that they returned their last book just a few days ago, but I wasn't at work that day.
Zna pan kogoś, kto był?
Marie? Marie? Do you remember a reader named Billy Majon? They returned a Tybalt book the other day. Yes, it was my colleague Marie. She said that it was Billy's husband who returned the book. He also asked for this new sci-fi release, Lowe's Radio City 87, but we don't have it yet.
A więc Billy Majon to kobieta, nie mężczyzna. Skąd pana koleżanka wiedziała, że to jej mąż?
Marie knows Billy. She's been working here longer than me. Sometimes her husband returns some books for her.
And then goes for a little drink later. On the lookout.
Znacie państwo może imię męża?
Sorry, no. Marie only knows him by sight.
Czy Mary mogłaby mi opisać, jak wyglądał ten mąż?
Marie? She said it was an older man, and that she's pretty sure he'd had a drink or two the last time she saw him.
Co miał na sobie?
One second. Sorry, Marie wasn't really paying any attention to that.
Dziękuję, ode mnie to już wszystko. Nie mam więcej pytań.
Happy we could help. Goodbye, officer.
Dlaczego adresem na karcie bibliotecznej jest adres, pod którym mieszka typ z balkonu? Czy chodzi po prostu o ten budynek?
Anything else you need from me?
Chcę zgłosić, że na Martyneskiej promenadzie leży ciało.
One moment. Can you please describe the body? Age, sex, cause of death?
Niezidentyfikowany mężczyzna w średnim wieku, wzrost 170 do 175 cm, ciemne włosy średniej budowy. Wygląda na to, że się pośliznął, wpadł w dziurę w promenadzie i uderzył głową o metalową ławkę.
We suspect he might have been inebriated when he fell. There were bottles all around him and traces of vomit on his shirt.
Any signs of violence?
Nie, zdaje się, że to był wypadek.
No field autopsy necessary.
You can hear her quickly typing in the background.
What about his belongings? Did you examine his clothes?
Miał na sobie buty, spodnie i starą skórzaną kurtkę z jasno-niebieską podszewką. W jego kieszeni znalazłem kartę biblioteczną.
Any information on the library card?
Wydała ją Centralna Biblioteka Publiczna w Jamrock. Należy do kogoś imieniem Billy Majon.
Good. You have a lead. Do you and Lieutenant Kitsuragi want to take the case, or should I assign it to someone else?
Weźmiemy tę sprawę.
I have assigned the case to Lieutenant Kim Kitsuragi. Please follow up on this library lead to identify the man. We'll send someone to take the body to the morgue. That's all for now. Thank you for reporting in. Is there anything else I can do for you?
Na razie nie chcę nic więcej robić z radiem. Zakończę rozmowę.
Over and out.
In the cabin, you see a set
Zamknijmy drzwi od razu, bo to już było kilka razy. Przejdźmy się pod księgarnię, znaczy. Czy jest jeszcze ta pani? Chodźmy do jej apartamentu. Zgłośmy, że znaleźliśmy męża. Lokal numer 20. Dni najzimniejszego kwietnia. Jutro przyjrzył się tej książce. Czy to jest numer 20? Nie, to jest 10. 20 będzie chyba na górze. Albo tutaj. Nie. Chodźmy na balkon.
A weathered brown
To jest
door.
20.
The number reads 20. Something smells good. Soup alongio.
Zupa cebulowa?
The lieutenant motions to you to go ahead and knock.
Jak te superluksy? A widzisz, żebym je miał na sobie nieziemski?
This is the door. You already know it's the right door. This is going to be so hard.
To będzie przejebane.
Get yourself together. It's just police work.
Don't knock! Just leave! You don't need this! You don't need to sad it up!
Poczekaj, kim powinniśmy to przedyskutować, zanim zaczniemy działać? Czego powinniśmy się spodziewać?
You're right. Let's talk this through.
Jak coś niziemskie, jakbyś chciał kupić, to są za równą stówę na Amazonie teraz. Z groszami. Potaniały.
You hear light footsteps passing by the door and some folk music playing on the radio.
Nie, myślę, że nie będzie w niej wygodny, ale myślę, że będzie wygodniejszy niż rozjebany opask z Arktisów. I myślę, że mimo, że kosztują 1/5 tego co Arktisy, będą wytrzymalsze.
We have our first preliminary identification. In all likelihood, the deceased is the husband of Billy Méjean. We need to confirm this, as well as deliver the death notification to Billy herself. Now, delivering a death notification is never an easy task. There's a reason why it's often called the most stressful part of our job. This is why it's usually done in pairs. You got this. I'll be monitoring reactions, ready to act if necessary.
Masz jakieś rady, jak powiedzieć jej, że on...
Dead? Just don't say that you know how they feel. You don't.
Jakbyś się nieziemski zastanawiał, to ten pałąk to jest jakaś kopia rozwiązania technologicznego z audiotechniki, którychś tam modeli. Więc to nie to, że to jest ich autorski wymysł.
Good advice.
No dobrze, chyba jestem gotowy.
The lieutenant motions towards the door.
Zapukaj.
Hello?
And someone turns down the radio.
Spójrz na porucznika.
He gives you a short, encouraging nod.
Czy to dom Billy Méjean? Tu policja, proszę otworzyć.
The police? A moment, please give us a moment.
Tidying up. Nervously. There's fear in her voice.
Come in, the door is open.
To będzie trudna scena. Rozejrzyjmy się najpierw. Ta sama marka papierosów. Makaron z pomocy humanitarnej. Dziecko myją. Nie no kurwa, dziecko mają. To się robi coraz trudniejsze. Dziecko jest w liceum. Nie jest aż takie małe. Ale to i tak przejebane.
It's you from the book stand. Did you come to bring my cockatoo back? I don't think I introduced myself properly. I'm Billy. Would you like something to drink? Tea? Lemonade? We're out of coffee.
The lieutenant has taken off his foggy glasses and is busy cleaning them in his handkerchief for now. You're on your own here. He must feel vulnerable without his glasses. Is this why he's letting you take the lead?
Nie przyszedłem tu niestety na herbatę.
Is this about Victor, my husband? Is he in some kind of trouble again? I can come pick him up in the station if that's what. No, this is something much worse. Is he in a hospital? How bad is it?
O kurwa.
Definitely no small talk. This isn't the time or place.
– 97%. Jeżeli to spierdolę, to...
You've done this before. Just keep your focus.
Proszę pani, z przykrością muszę powiedzieć, że pani mąż, Victor Méjean, został znaleziony martwy na promenadzie Martinez.
What did you say?
A great and terrible spike. The blood freezes in her veins.
Pani mąż, Wiktor Mejean, nie żyje. Moje najszczersze kondolencje, proszę pani.
Oh. Oh. But he was just...
But he was just here, alive.
We understand this comes as a huge shock. I want you to know that me and my partner are here for you if you have any questions. Take your time, ma'am.
What happened to him?
Doszło do wypadku. Pośliznął się, wpadł w dziurę w promenadzie i uderzył się w głowę.
Was he drunk?
Tak, alkohol mógł odegrać w tym zdarzeniu pewną rolę.
I see. And you just found him there, lying in the cold.
Lost and insecure. I found him.
How long had he been there?
If you say 2 days maybe, it will be etched in her mind forever.
Nie mógł to być długi czas.
She blinks, eyes welling up with tears, as her hand starts searching for something from the pockets of her dress.
Here.
Czy możemy kogoś dla pani wezwać? Przyjaciółkę, członka rodziny? Kogoś, kto mógłby panią teraz wesprzeć?
No, no. I just need to tell my girls.
It burns like acid.
God. Should I call them? Should I tell them to come home?
No. A day.
Nie, proszę wykorzystać ten dzień, żeby ochłonąć. Będzie pani lepiej przygotowana, kiedy jutro wrócą do domu.
Good. That's probably the right thing. Thank you.
She can't take much more. Her stomach is churning. Soon she will have to go to the bathroom and scream.
Just tell me, what do I need to do next? Where is he? Can I see him?
We've taken him to the city morgue. The local coroner will be contacting you shortly to arrange the funeral. Here's his number in case you want to contact him earlier. Is there anything else that the RCM could do for you?
No, I'll call you if something comes up. I'm still... Thank you. Thank you for telling me. I'll call if...
These are her last reserves of strength. Her muscles will give in soon. Already she starts to shake.
Jak mówiłem, bardzo mi przykro, proszę pani.
We should step outside and talk.
Zostaw kłoni kartę biblioteczną, opuść pokój.
You did well.
Mógłbym zrobić więcej.
You did enough. Can't save the whole world, you know.
Co dalej?
I'll call the station when we're finished with the day and let them know the name of the deceased.
Co z Billy i jej dziećmi?
They'll manage.
They have to. It's not your place to live their lives.
I co, to tyle?
That's it. We should get back to our case now that our duty here is done.
Tak, w takim razie załatwione.
Let's go.
You look south, over the crumbling balustrade. There, 1.2 kilometers away, a piece of broken stone cuts into the sky. A tomb. On it, a mural that used to say, "Tomorrow is just a whisper away." You cannot really see the felled building from here, but somehow you feel like you should return to it.
To było ciężkie. Dobra, skoczmy do Erling. I w sumie chyba na tym skończymy dzisiaj. Muszę pogadać z parą kryptozoologów. to kto do cholery?
Hello, officer.
Gary.
Name's Gary. Boy, am I ever so grateful to you. But I'm not the only one who wants to thank you.
Dobra, stanę przy nich, żebym wiedział na jutro. Zapiszmy grę. I na dzisiaj to będzie tyle. Nie wiem, jak daleko do końca jestem, ale wydaje mi się, że dość daleko. I że jeszcze nie wiem, ile streamów z tego będzie. Podoba mi się ta gra, jest pojebana, ale bardzo żongluje takimi nastrojami. Przychodzi momentalnie z takiego czystego, nie wiem jak to nazwać nawet, karykaturalnej rzeczywistości, humoru, do w chuj poważnych tematów. Dodatkowo pojawia się element supernaturalny i nic nie wiadomo. Jakaś szarota, jakieś kryptydy, tutaj morderstwo, tutaj jakieś superkomputery. Pojebane, no pojebane. Ale dobra. No też mi się wydaje nieziemski, że może w połowie jestem. Chociaż nie, połowa może nie. Bardzo akcję przyspieszyło. Tak naprawdę czuję, że odkąd zdjąłem trupa, to wszystko zaczęło się dziać. Początek był powolny, ale to też wina trochę tego, że nie potrafię strzelać i rozmawiać i w sumie od początku miałem słabe rzuty. Anyways, na dzisiaj to tyle. Widzimy się jutro. Uważajcie na siebie. Trzymajcie się. No i nie wiem, miłego dnia. Do zobaczenia. Hej.